This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On ABC Radio,
ABC Sport Digital, and take us with you on the ABC Listener.
Look for the AFL button.
A big crowd rolling into the home of football on a very wintry Saturday afternoon here in Melbourne for what is, in the words of Hawthorn coach Sam Mitchell, a massive game. It is 13th and 12th. Hawthorn and Collingwood, they both sit on 36 premiership points in this 2024 campaign. And this town, in terms of finals, ain't big enough for the two of them at the end of the year. You imagine that it is curtains for the loser today, and that the glimmer still remains for the team that comes out on top. Great to have you with us on ABC Sport. Joel Peterson calling the action alongside Andrew Mays. Hello, Maysy.
Joel, what an afternoon. I was coming in on the train today thinking about all the issues and the storylines heading into this game. I don't know that we've had too many this year with as many storylines. So there was finals on the line. Darcy Moore's under the pump. The return of Dan McStay. Finn McGuinness, was he going to tag Nick Dacos? Will Hardwick go forward and kick goals like he did last time against the Pies? McRae sort of daring them to tag Nick Dacos. We had Sicily's shoulder. So there's just that many storylines heading in today. Looking forward to seeing how it all plays out over the next couple of hours.
Steele Sidebottom and Scott Pendlebury, teammates for the 300th time, the fourth duo to get to that milestone. Luke Bruce becomes a record breaker with his 293rd game, the most off the rookie list, surpassing Matthew Boyd, and 100th game for Jack Scrimshaw. Jack Ginnivan returns to face his former team at the location of their 2023 grand final triumph, and Ned Long on the other side of things, the former Hawks, suiting up for the Pies this afternoon. We're in good hands in terms of our experts. Rod Jamison, Crows premiership player, has made the flight across from South Australia to be here. Good afternoon, Jamo.
Joel, thank you, Maisie. Yeah, it's great to be here, actually. I just thoroughly enjoyed the walk along South Bank, walk to the MCG. A lot of jumpers, scarves, beanies, and a lot of kids coming along there. And to come to the MCG and see two teams, and one in particular who's going all right. They've won 9 out of the last 12, and big challenge ahead of them today.
Absolutely. And our premiership mastermind, Mick Malthouse, who's already had a big weekend here on the airwaves of ABC Sport. Mick, good to see you.
Go, Joel. Maisie and Rod. I've gone back a long time with Rod, way back to late Footscray, early West Coast days.
Yeah,
draft.
Western Bulldog, Footscray at that time.
Footscray, so we go right back. I was trying to draft him. Over, but never come, and only his premiership player. This should be a beauty. There's McGuinness is. I'm staggered that he's not going to start. The other one is, and I wouldn't wish this upon anyone, but we've got McStay playing his first game back.
Less than 8 months after doing an ACL.
On a slippery ground. Anyone who's had an ACL, I'd be very... Look, he'll get through, but you've got to be nervous. I know his doctors will be nervous, his coaches will be nervous. He'll be a bit nervous. We know the MCG is fantastic, but if it's right now, it's fine. If it starts to rain and there's a little bit of movement on the ground, first thing that goes through players, I don't want to go through another 12 months of this. So it's a big call. I reckon it's a good call, but it's a big call.
Big calls made at selection table. Jammer, there's a real anticipation. There's a big game buzz around this.
Oh, look, I think, and more so, I mean, there's a lot of Collingwood supporters and followers, obviously, too, but I think that just Hawthorn, when you have a look at both sides, they actually Norton 3, Collingwood at the start of the year. GWS Sydney St Kilda they lost to, and Hawthorn was 0-5. So now to be just out of the 8 or in contention, and how important we know when you look from second and third down to 13th as to how important it is to notch a win, and particularly today's game. And there's a little bit of niggle in it too, as we well know.
Absolutely there is. We'll get your tips in a moment. Let's send it downstairs. Tim Hodges is sideline for us. Hodgie, good afternoon.
Hello, Joel. A win for Darcy Moore at the toss. The Magpies will kick to the city. Watching at home, it's a cold and wet day. It's rained for most of the day here in Melbourne. There's a hell of a lot more rain on the way currently, just 12 degrees. Just a word on the crowd, it's going to be a monster. The Hawks are still confident they can get close to 80,000. All tickets have been sold. It's just a nightmare getting in, as most of you guys have found out. All the car parks closed, really public transport, the only way you can get here. So staggering that there are this many people here. So, close to 80,000 for an absolute ripper game.
Yeah, it's got a finals feeling about it. A tip, Jamo?
I'm going to the Hawks.
Mick?
My tips at home are the Hawks, but I'll go for the Pies against Gemmo.
Must have some adversaries at the back of the bench. Saturday twilight footy on ABC Sport. Hawthorn and Collingwood in front of a big crowd at the MCG. Here's Andrew May.
So much on the line this afternoon. Looking forward to bringing it to you for the next couple of hours. In the middle, Cameron tried to palm it down. It was socked away there by Meek. Watson's into it early. Hand pass over to Warple, who kicks inside, attacking 50. No mark taken. Nicely swept up by Moore to Josh Dacos, and then a Noble who just paused on his kick. He was stripped of it. Now Nick Dacos, he was stripped of it. Umpire said play on his side bottom, scrambled a kick to the wing. Winning the race is Impey though for the Hawks. Hand pass to D'Ambrosio, he turns it over. Long big tackle there, and it actually slipped high. I think advantage might have been paid in the end. McStay with his first touch. It's a handball off to Hill on the long sleeves this afternoon. Back to Noble. Kick inside, attacking 50 for the Pies. Big fist from Sicily. Knocked forward by McStay. Off hands. Impey close to the boundary line. It's his friend, and he sees it over for a boundary throw in. Fast start to this one. Pies into attack after a minute.
Yeah, good for McStay. And just some of the matchups. Impey, I think, is going to Hill. That should be an absolute ripper. Hill leads the goal kick at Collingwood, given that Mycheck's out. So him and Elliott are going to be their principal goal kickers, along with the hope of McStay.
Blake Hardwick standing alongside Jordan to go in the defensive goal square for Hawthorn. Ball tossed back in. Crisp sockers it inside the forward 50 for the Pies. Impey had it, lost it. Newcomb might have had a kicking in danger there as he dived on top of the footy. Umpire says yes. So Jai Newcomb inside defensive 50 for the Hawks. Really the first chance to try and slow it down. Kick wasn't 15 to D'Ambrosio at left half back. Tries to measure it down the line for Ginnivan, and reading it nicely is Moore. Darcy Moore intercepts for Collingwood. Defensive hand pass to Quainer. Runs into Watson. Caught holding the ball. An early win for the Wizard on the wing. And he'll take the footy and send the Hawks up front.
It's interesting trying to get through a player that close to you.
Watson kicked to half forward, no mark taken. Quainer at ground level this time. Gets rid of it a little bit quicker, but it's straight down the throat of D'Ambrosio. So a forward half game here for the Hawks. Takes the mark on his chest on the wing. Ginnivan's the option. Listen to the reception. Not as warm as I thought it might be. Mixed. Very much so.
A little strong that way too.
Ginnivan, kick inside, attacking 50. Scholl tried to ride the pack, couldn't quite get up high enough, and then Quainer kills the contest and sees it over for a boundary throw in. 40 out from goal. No score yet. We've played 2.5 minutes.
What about Scholl's attack on the ball beforehand? Was none. It was absolute 0 out of 10. Yeah. And you wonder why he doesn't last at clubs. Absolutely just in snooze control.
Allowing Moore to take the mark.
Big boom or bust. Harvey or Chol. Meek takes front spot in ruck inside the forward 50. Newcomb scoots past. Handball back to Warple to get the Hawks started. Standing start from 35. James Warple with the opener. And he falls on his backside amid the celebration. 1 straight 6. Collingwood yet to score. 3 gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
Well, I think if you're any forward line coach, you actually want a player to hit the contest, don't you, too? And Jai Newcomb just came through at the front of the pack. Clean take. Warple's already had 2 or 3 disposals in the early part of the game with a clearance inside 50. But just clean hands through the contest, out the back, and an easy goal. Isaac Quainer was going the mop top. What happened to the streamline? How long has he been wearing that one for?
Well, I reckon it's only this week.
Is it?
I'll tell you what, the move last week on Cameron was interesting. Now he's got a different type of opponent again. He's quite versatile, really good player. Hasn't had the same number of possessions this year as he normally can get.
Meek from behind, won it down to DeGoey. He's a little clumsy in his tackle there, and DeGoey was pushed in the back. DeGoey had Dacos, the Nick variety, running past, ignored him, went longer instead, inside attacking 50, attacking it wonderfully was McInnes, who takes it on the way down. Double grab, strong mark, and he'll line up from 40 out, slight angle to the right.
Interesting player, McInnes. Just that, looking at his size, 194. Doesn't always play at 194. Then that aerial mark, that's a 194 mark. So he sits comfortably with key backs. Doesn't dominate him in the air.
He's kicked 7-1 from set shots this season so far, McInnes. In he comes, kicks from 45. This looks pretty good. It's coming back late, and he's got the Pies first. They answer straight back. 4 minutes played. 1 goal apiece. Strap yourselves in.
Well, Reece McGuinness too. Oh, he's got a little bit of Ash Johnson about him too, isn't he? Just the size and the ability to be able to jump up at the contest and
Probably stays at the contest better.
Yeah, and just the ability. I think what Hawthorn don't want to do is just allow McGuinness the run, jump up, and the ease in which he was able to get at the contest.
So there's the worry in the back of minds. Elliott can jump from anywhere. Hill will jump from anywhere. They're both in line for a car each because of their marking. McStay's now entered into it, and the worry is who goes who and where do we get the support from? And that's why McGuinness just sleeps out, and he's sort of left to do what he has to do.
Nick Malthouse and Rod Jamieson, your experts on ABC Sport. Bounce goes awry in the middle of the ground. 6-2 with Reece McGuinness in the side this year. Collingwood, if you're just joining us, Lockie Sullivan is the sub for the Pies. Finn McGuinness, the sub for Hawthorn. So not out there running with Nick Dacos in the early stages. Right on cue. Dacos with the clearance from the middle. Handball away to Josh. Back to Nick with a looping handball through right half forward. Centering kicks a beauty. And charging up is the man on return in McStay, who marks 40 metres out directly in front.
Well, Joel, can I just pinch you a second of time? I was watching the bounce down in the middle. Nick Dacos is at 12 o'clock, so he's right directly opposite the ruckman. He moves in, takes it, cuts straight towards us, and loses his man easily.
And here is McStay with the set shots, and he misses it to the left on the score.
Then runs through, gets it back, and then twists the ball across his body and hits a target from 45, 50 metres. Unbelievable. Untouched by any Hawthorn player. So Rod, your question to me before the game?
Yeah.
There it is.
James Walker was his immediate opponent, just allowed him, and then just 20 metres off, just ran sort of alongside him.
Scrimshaw long kick out. It's modelling around at ground level. Just getting the kick away was Maynard around the corner. Keeping it in front of him nicely was Impey. Around the boundary line to Watson. More with the creative hand pass. Watson ran out of room. It'll be a ball in right on halfway.
Daniel McStay, if we're any concerned, he was just straight out at hard lead, wasn't it too? Good to see it. Welcome back.
Just missing the finishing touch there, Jamo. Hopefully he gets another couple of opportunities this afternoon. Toss back into play. Lipinski at the back of the pack. Hooks it around on his left. Inside attacking 50. McGuinness almost got a break on it. Had a fumble. Elliott had it. He was dispossessed. Now Sicily out wide to Ward. Forced to kick on his right foot, but it's okay as well. Oh, well done. Hoskin Elliott running back with the flight. And then McDonald just soccers it forward. If this dribbles out, it's a chance of insufficient intent. And doing well was Bruce to take it over and force the boundary throw in. 60 around from the Hawks goal. 1 straight 6 Hawthorn, 1-1-7 Collingwood. We've played 8 minutes opening term.
We had 8 of those last week, Maisie. Yes. Adelaide St Kilda. It was incredible.
Ball to be tossed back in underneath the Shane Warne stand. Meek muscles his way in the ruck contest, wins it down to Newcombe, grabbed by Pendlebury. And we'll have a ball up. Pendlebury out there with side bottom for the 300th time. So Henry McLeod, Tyson Edwards, Joel Selwood, Tom Hawkins, Adam Goods, Jude Bolton. The only other 3 duos to reach 300 games as teammates. Clean work at the stoppage from the Hawks. More the give and go with Warple. Free kick for some high contact. And James Warple, who kicked the first for Hawthorn, is going to be given the ball 45 metres out. 10 metres in from the boundary in the right forward pocket, Nick.
Well, the free kick was there. There's no question. Hit across the face, and they're the easy ones. But I was wondering whether he would have kept on going, actually. He got it around the neck face, but I guess the next option was, what do I do? But free kick.
So Warple kicked the first of the game. Just 4 goals, 5 on the season, including that one. Set shot kick from 45. It's the inside of the post. 1-1-7 apiece through 9 minutes. Massive crowd at the MCG. Saturday twilight footy on ABC Sport.
Howe with the kick-in duties for the Pies. He goes short into the right back pocket. Noble takes the mark. He wants to go immediately. Good pressure coming across there by Chol on that occasion. Almost pushed him off the kick. In the end, it went to a contest, and the Hawks are pretty happy to see that one over and out of play in front of the interchange benches as a couple of changes are made, including Warple off for day. They directing traffic as he stands alongside Scott Pendlebury below.
Ginnivan deep forward. Jeremy Howe, his immediate opponent, to Goey up the other end.
Toss back into play. Nash palmed it to Meek, who tumbles a kick inside, attacking 50. Watson did everything but take the mark at ground level. He was good enough to get the hand pass away. McDonald heard the voice, and it was Ginnivan who got it back to McDonald. Scrub along the ground. Chol played from behind, bounced over the top, snaps it from the top of the square and misses. Oh, he's flat about it as well. Knows that was a golden opportunity. So 1-2-8 now the Hawks, 1-1-7 the Pies.
Howe wastes no time, brings it in toward Crisp, who has paid the free kick for some front-on contact.
I think there's a bit of a yo-yoing effect with Dacos. I reckon Newcomb might have him.
Crisp down the line. Weddle drops the mark among the pack. Meek does the work down low, all on the interchange side of the ground. Jaff to aim on. Neat kick. Weddle's dropped another mark, but he was good enough to keep this one in front of him. Handball to Nash. Handball to Day. Linking up by hand through the middle of the ground. The Hawks. Newcomb bangs it inside the forward 50. Howe had to sit on Watson and the size and was able to control it down into the pocket. It's out for a throw-in. Right forward pocket. Hawks into attack. They lead by a point. 11 minutes gone opening term.
How good was Carl Amon's kick there too? He's watched him a little bit at Port Adelaide and he was just renowned for it. I think they were disappointed to see him leave.
Oh, I wonder why. He is a beauty.
He's having a great year as well. Wonderful stoppage play. Bruce runs in and kicks the goal. Lovely tap by Meek. Set play straight from the training ground. 2-2-14 the Hawks. 1-1-7 Collingwood. We played 11 and a half minutes in the opening term.
Well, the Pies wouldn't want to be watching that too often because you allow any player as a half-forward flanker for a start-off. You've got a man, believe it or not, you've got a half-back flanker, and what you have to do is, and it's Maynard too, who should know better, and he's just allowed him to take front spot, clear in front, goal side, without body pressure. Unbelievable from Maynard, who you would trust, you jump in the trenches with, but he's jumped in the wrong trench.
Both goals coming from boundary throw-ins too. Just be disappointed, Collingwood. Craig McRae would be livid that they've been able to do that with such ease.
Let's go downstairs. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Joel, just a word on the weather. The wind has really picked up. It's really swirly, which Rod and Mick will be able to tell you what it's like down on the boundary line at the MCG. And a substitution has been made. Bobby Hill's got rid of the long sleeves. He's put the short sleeves on out there.
Thanks, Hodgie. Clearance from the Hawks. From the restart, Ward darts the kick infield from out wide, finds Newcomb, the set-up kick inside the forward 50, puts it to space in front of Dylan Moore, bounces off his shin, goes back outside the forward 50 for the Hawks. Hamberto D'Ambrosio hooks it over his head, so too does Watson, finds Weddle, darts the kick inside the forward 50. The providing support in defence was Lipinski for the Pies, takes the mark, 45 out from his defensive goal. Hawks 2-2, Collingwood 1-1, couple of lead changes in the early going here. 13 gone in the opening term on ABC Sport.
Lipinski over to Howe. He goes wider. Stay with a big run. Rove beautifully by Hill, who works the 1-2 with side bottom. Gets to 55. Pulls his kick. It's short. It's in front of Elliott, who keeps it in front of himself and then keeps it in. He was pushed off it in the end. So excellent play there by Hardwick, who gave it to Sicily, and then it was dragged underneath Sicily. Not of his doing, and the umpire is going to ping him.
What?
Oh no, he's going to pin against it.
Well, it had to be because the Collingwood player grabbed it,
pulled it in,
and then slid underneath Sicily. So
it's not a bad call. It's a shocking kick out from Sicily as well. Pendlebury couldn't gather it. He got it in the end to Sidebottom, who snaps to the top of the square. Yes, it is a mark on the way down. I thought it had been spoiled away, but Kruger takes it on his backside, and he'll line up from 10 metres out, slight angle to the right.
Well, they're playing efficient footy, aren't they, at the moment?
Too right.
Hawthorn have had double the disposals at 6-5 inside 50s Hawthorn's way, but gee, they'll be disappointed also with that too. They had the ability, they won the football where they needed to. Poor disposal out.
Kruger for his first of the afternoon. Left footer comes in and misses. He was 2 metres to the right of the goal square and he's hooked it badly. 1-2-8 Collingwood. 2-2-14 the Hawks. We played 14 minutes.
Well, that's in the grand final for the worst ever.
Marbio, Chol and Kruger just tagging each other.
Hands to his head straight away, Nathan Kruger. Long kick out of defence for the Hawks. Chol brings it down. Handball over the top. Watson, handball forward to Nash. Trying to bust his way forward. Ginnivan was all alone inside the forward 50, but the kick tumbles to true centre-half forward where Markov picks it up for the Pies. Handball off to Darcy Moore. Wide kick looking for Bobby Hill. Hardwick right there with him every step of the way. Free kick for a hold among that contest. And it is going to Blake Hardwick. Kick 4 when these two sides met back in round 4 at the Adelaide Oval as part of Gather Round. Hawks by one straight kick halfway through this opening term. Hardwick's kicked us to half forward. Deer flew, couldn't take it. Ginnivan was there. His handball slipped out of his grasp. Nick Dacos went through, had it and lost it. Ned Long's tackled by a pack of Hawks. And it's brought to turf in line with the front edge of the centre square. A baller. 2-2 plays 1-2. Joel Peterson and Andrew Mays calling it for you on ABC Sport. Rod Jamieson, Mick Malthouse, your experts. Tim Hodges with us on the boundary. A big Saturday afternoon game at the MCG.
Well, it took 3 of them to drag Ned Long down. He is a solid piece of work.
Ward with the clearance, hand pass to Day, who spins out of 2 tackles. Hand passes inside 50. Ginnivan on the left to the top of the square. Chol almost got a break on his opponent. Couldn't quite do so. Was appealing for the free kick as it was punched through for a rush behind. 2-3 Hawthorn, 1-2 Collingwood. 16 played opening term.
The Hawks are up for the fight, 24-14 in terms of the contested football.
Yep.
Handball receives 24-13. Also support and run from behind.
Earlier today, big win for St Kilda by 12 goals over West Coast. GWS by 39 points over the Suns. That vaults them up to 3rd on the live ladder. These two sides 12 and 13th coming into today, both with 36 premiership points from the kick in. Long kick down the line. Dacos hooks it high up toward half forward. Elliott with the flight of the ball, couldn't take it. Richards off hands, has his handball bashed over the boundary line by Will Day. And we'll have a ball in front of the members. Between the wing and right half forward for the Pies, who kicked to the city end in the opening term. Goals to Warple and to Bruce for the Hawks thus far. Reef McInnes with the lone major for Collingwood. Nathan Kruger missing a gilt-edged chance a couple of moments ago. Such is the size of Ned Long, Mick. He went up in the ruck there against Nash. Hawks will get the clearance. It will be Nash who kicks down the line looking for Watson. He and Maynard ran past it. So too did Chol and Darcy Moore. Chol was first back there, left it behind. Moore picked it up. Josh Dacos dribbles it along the boundary line toward the Hawthorn interchange. Hoskin Elliott's keen to step it across, and that's not penalised. And we'll have it thrown in.
Yeah, I'm find out his height. Ned Long, he'd be 190s odd.
194, yeah.
Yeah, 194. But you're not allowed to say their weight, but he'd have to be over 100 kilos.
Nash tried to get the kick away, was dragged off it, and now it falls to Lipinski, who kicks a high ball off the side of the boot into the middle. No mark taken there by Jath, but he's got support at ground level through Hardwick, who gets it back to Jath, hits the accelerator, out wider still is Weddle. Wasn't the best of handballs, so Weddle had to gather. No option forward, so he goes backwards instead to Hardwick, who's called to play on, who fires it to the wing, and now Sicily with the ball in hand.
AFL logo, southern side of the ground. A packed southern stand out there as well. Sicily just waltzes away, drops the kick inside the forward 50. Deer presenting up, couldn't take it, bounced off his chest. Dylan Moore was dragged to ground. Ginnivan picks it up in the pocket. Handball went straight to Bobby Hill. And then Ginnivan turns tackler, drags him across the boundary line. And we will have it thrown back into play. Right out near where the junction, in fact, it's going to be a ball up, so it didn't cross the chalk. It's right out near the junction, the 50 in the boundary at right half forward. Scott Pendlebury motioning to a couple of his teammates as the two rucks take their time to make their way across to the contest. It's still Nash and Long doing the ruck work. Oh, Watson was brilliant, kept it alive off the tap. And then it was socked forward by Ginnivan. Across the face, this time it's out in the left forward pocket.
That's the ability of Scott Pendlebury. He hasn't had a lot of possessions, but he just organises out there. He's the coach out there. He sets it all up, makes sure that the younger players, if there's younger players involved, he's pointing now, just making sure that players can't get through on this tap, which Hawthorn have been very good at.
Thrown back into play. Nash palms it down to Moore. Had one arm pinned, just got it away, and then it's back amongst the congestion. Oh. And this is going to be holding the ball too. There must be 12 players in this pack over the footy.
Oh. Goodness gracious me.
How could he even get that out?
Well,
So McDonald's got the free kick, and
it's against, I think it's Josh Dacos. isn't it?
Yeah.
But, you'd be riding, that's the sort of ride you do at Flemington. Honestly, he's got no hope of getting that football out.
Like the analogy would be
He's
4
jumping.
jockeys on one horse, actually.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
You're better
There's
off
no
almost
chance.
not picking it up in that situation because of the amount of players around.
Well, I guess the only thing is he did lay on it.
In comes McDonald, 20 out, directly in front, and he kicks the goal. Good celebration to go with it as well. 3-3-21 Hawthorn, 1-2-8 Collingwood, 13 points to the margin as we tick into time on in the opening quarter.
What was that? He actually put something to his forehead then to the Collingwood supporters. I couldn't quite pick up what it was, but I think what I'm liking about the Hawks now is they're really up for the contest. They're the congested football. A lot of the time they seem to be cleaner. They've certainly got more numbers. And when that last entry into the forward 52, Collingwood sort of came back and really in the numbers. The kick in there had to be spot on. They almost made it, but they're just playing it in their forward half.
Yeah, just watch that again. The ball's built in front of him. Natural instinct, I'm going to make it mine. He just jumped on the football. And once he did that, that was all over.
There's 3 Hawthorn players on him.
Oh, that's it. The fullback, the pushing the back goes out the window. I think it's the holding the ball goes the priority.
Didn't have the chance to get up cleanly there. Chol into the ruck and the clearance from Marby or Chol bursts away. Eyes up long, sends it to full forward. Quaynor and Bruce. Quaynor did well. Able to get the kick away. Slides out to half back over the boundary line. Throw it in, says the umpire.
Good decision. Really good decision. The Collingwood player missed that by half a metre, and you can see who's directing it at Steele side bottom. We've got to give some fairness.
The umpire in control actually looked to the umpire down the other end,
Yes.
and he said, no, throw it in.
Yeah.
So throwing it left half forward for Hawthorn. Back-to-back goals for the Hawks to lead by a game-high 13 points. Nash controls it down inside the forward 50. A chance for Josh Dacos, taken away by the Hawks. Ginnivan and Warple. Warple's kick tumbles into the goal square, bounces high. DeGoey's back there for Collingwood, clears the defensive lines. McInnes comes in over the top of Day. Now long, and they can burst through the middle. Here's Pendlebury.
Pendlebury was undecided and dropped the foot. He still had time and class to gather. He gave it back to Long, who just fired it to centre half forward, and coming through like a bullet was Hardwick. Kept it in front and then kicks to the advantage of a couple of forwards. One of them's Deer. He left it for Moore, and then Moore kicks inside, attacking 50. Quaynor read it beautifully. And just darted in front of Bruce at the last moment to take the intercept mark. He'll switch things up as well. Come to right half back, where Sidebottom has a break on his opponent. Sidebottom motioning Richards to come towards him. Instead goes a little bit more centrally towards the wing, and Kruger takes it on his chest.
Beautiful play by Sidebottom.
Great kick, isn't it?
True centre wing for Kruger. High left foot kick inside the forward 50. Elliott in from the side. Read beautifully by Weddle. He wants to immediately move it. Bounce was dangerous in the slippery conditions. Made it work for himself though. Handball to Amon. Back to the burst of Josh Weddle. Dashing off half back. Laces one down the line to Ginnivan. 65 from home for Hawthorn at right half forward. Bruce marks just outside the 50. Hawks possessing the ball. 13 points to the good. 23 minutes gone first term.
Meek's calling for in the square. He's been there one-on-one.
Luke Bruce runs out toward the boundary line, hooks a high kick toward full forward. Nash and Meek both in the area, taken away by Crisp, hand on his kick, spills to D'Ambrosio, grabbed by Richards, great tackle, Quaynor piles in. Matt Nichols crosses the arms, and a ball up left forward pocket. Hawks into attack around 30 out from their goal.
How good was that play from Weddle off the half back line? Coming full chest, and took the football, then was able to get about 40 metres through running, bouncing the ball. Well done.
Cameron with the tap that time. DeGoey happy enough to see it over for a boundary throw in left forward pocket for the Hawks.
See the youth of this side grow. Gemma, were you saying that they were zipping 5?
Yep.
Yeah, have a look where they are now. Zipping 5, and they're currently 8 and 8. So
1-9 out of the last 12.
Such a confidence about them at the moment as well. Meek palms it down, only as far as DeGoey though, who stepped through a couple, found himself a little bit of space, and then a great kick out of defensive 50. All the way to left half back, he finds Hill. And he goes to Elliott. Not quite as good that kick, and Elliott tried to take it and go straight away. He's then pressured out of it. Well done by Weddle, who was able to cleanly gather and give it to Jaff, who kicks inboard to Nash, and he takes it just behind centre wing. No, he didn't. He dropped it and allowed a couple of Collingwood players in. Then someone pulled it back in. Don't think the umpire could see. He was blindsided, so he says, I'll ball it up.
Yeah, Nash spent that before he got there. I'm sure it's not wet down there at the moment. The wind, by the way, it's going... Well, we'll talk better after this bounce down.
Ball up out on the wing. Meek, Cameron, spills to Crisp for the Pies. Handball to Hill, intelligently knocks it back to Crisp. We tried to get boot to ball, only spilled as far as Jath, and now it's batted around to Day. Day links up by hand with Nash for the Hawks. Out wide to Jath on the AFL logo, southern side. Looping handball over the top to Dylan Moore. Kick on the bounce was a good one to Bruce. Left or right half forward, 55 out. Whips it inside the forward 50. Al Shadir can't take the mark. Josh Dacos is back there for the Pies. Shoots it short and finds Long at centre half back. Hawks by 13 points, 25 and a half gone in this first term. Joel Peterson and Andrew Mays calling it for you on ABC Sport. Rod Jamison, Mick Malthouse, your experts. Might check in with Hodgie downstairs. Hodgie, what's that wind doing?
It's still swirling as much as I said before, and the rain is due to hit around 5 o'clock, so it's just ticked over 5 o'clock now. So I think we are going to get quite a bit of rain in the next hour or so.
Cameron with the kick. Inside attacking 50. Kruger let all comers. Couldn't complete the mark at ground level. Elliott goes to work. He's spun in the tackle. D'Ambrosio then intercepted. Wonderful work by Kruger. Off to Richards. Top of the square. Gets around one tackle. Handballed it to Kruger in the goal square. Over his head and through for a behind. Almost needed to be a little bit more selfish there at the top of the goal square. One burnt there for the Pies. 3-3 plays 1-3. Hawks in front after 26 minutes.
Hawks will bring it in from fullback. Sicily out wide. Jaff. Of course, interrupted start for CJ. Hasn't quite hit his straps throughout the course of this season, but getting back to some of his best. Sends a long footy up toward half forward. Darcy Moore read it well, but just had it slip through his grasp. Bruce, as always, was crafty at his feet. Warple tries to take them on, got the handball away out toward the boundary line. Bruce tried to keep it alive, but couldn't. And it'll be thrown back into play right half forward.
That wind is going from right to left the way we sit. Believe me, when it hits that stand, it comes back the other way. So, technically speaking, Collingwood have got the breeze. I know it sounds ridiculous, but let me tell you, over a couple of hundred games, whatever it is, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah, a little bit of experience there with Mick Malthouse. In our broadcast team this afternoon, Long's grabbed Day high. And so Will Day at half forward for Hawthorn. Just a little bit slow to get up and get rid of Nick Long, or Ned Long, I should say. He's going to chip it short to Jaff. 55 out near the junction of the 50 in the boundary at right half forward. Hawks 3-3, Pies 1-3. Nearing quarter time. Jaff wants to take it on. Left foot kicks a dart inside forward 50. Oh, it slipped through the hands of Sidebottom, but he was good enough to go and get it on the second attempt and takes the mark for Collingwood.
14-7 inside 50s in favour of the Hawks.
Collingwood have held out very well.
Yeah.
Plus 34 disposals for Hawthorn.
But it's the use of the football the Hawks are letting themselves down.
Now it's with Josh Dacos, true centre half back. He turns it over. Getting a hand in there was Warple, but he runs assistance here, Dacos, as he spins and gives it to Long, who's tackled. Umpire wave play on. Dacos, a third effort there. Good running by Josh, and now it's back into congestion. It'll be a ball up inside the centre square.
That's the infuriation by supporters then. That's incorrect disposal. That is holding the ball all day, every day.
Day shuck the tap nicely. His kick out of congestion is good to Bruce, who'll give it to the run of Ginnivan, who gets to 60. Goal square is clear. Instead, he lowered his eyes. Deer couldn't take the mark. Now Josh Dacos. Hand pass over the top to Noble. Now to Lipinski. He lowers his eyes beautifully and hits Kruger on the wing, who juggled the mark.
Yeah, a little bit of a nervous moment, but he takes it on the AFL logo. Out wide to Richards. Kick a bit too hot for him, but it'll sit up. Joe Richards inside the forward 50 to the chest of Elliott, who marks a pace inside the paint of the 50. Right out at right half forward.
He's good for the distance.
Yeah.
And as I said, that wind, it mightn't play a significant role from that 50, but it won't be in his face, put it that way, because of the crowd. So
Long goal, tight angle. Doesn't worry Jamie.
No, it doesn't worry him. No,
We know that.
Yeah, it does not worry him.
It's from outside 50. He lays into it, Jamie Elliott. It started right. It didn't come back quite enough. 11-point ball game. 1-4 Collingwood, 3-3 Hawthorn, 29.5 gone. Opening term Saturday, twilight footy on ABC Sport.
It was only accuracy and a half a metre, and that's, or probably a metre, and that's through.
Sicily with the kick in. Ginnivan's his target. Siren beats everyone. What an entertaining first quarter of footy here at the MCG. The Hawks probably rue a few missed opportunities going inside attacking 50. Having said that, Collingwood with a couple of gilt-edged opportunities that they butchered at the other end. 3-3-21 Hawthorn, 1-4-10 Collingwood. The goal kickers for the Hawks, Warper with the first of the game, then Bruce and McDonald followed up, while Reef and McInnes is the only goal kicker for the Pies.
They should have had another through Kruger, who missed one from point-blank range in that term. Collingwood, it's been high-octane footy. The scoreboard doesn't necessarily show the quality of the contest thus far. Earlier today, St Kilda by 72 points over West Coast. GWS vaulted to third, at least for now, on the AFL ladder with a 39-point win over the Gold Coast Suns. And here at the MCG, in front of a big crowd on a wintry Saturday afternoon, it is Hawthorn 3-3-21 to Collingwood 1-4-10. Second term coming up next. Stick with us. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
G'day, Patrick Stack here from ABC Sport Daily. If you love sport...
we got our first look at potentially what Brian Goorjian might at least be thinking or might be looking at.
and great conversation.
Well, they're the most famous family in paddling, the first family of paddling, if you will.
Then you'll love ABC Sport Daily.
Lamine Yamal, he's just turned, I think, 17 years and 1 day. So what a birthday present.
ABC Sport Daily. Get it on the ABC Listen app.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Lee takes front spot in ruck inside the forward 50. Newcomb scoots past. Handball back to Warble to get the Hawks started. Standing start from 35. James Warble with the opener.
Goey was pushed in the back. Goey had Dacos, the Nick variety, running past. Ignored him, went longer instead. Inside attacking 50. Attacking it wonderfully was McInnes, who takes it on the way down. McInnes. In he comes. Kicks from 45. This looks pretty good. It's coming back late and he's got the Pies first. Wonderful stoppage play. Bruce runs in and kicks the goal. Lovely tap by Meek. Set play straight from the training grounds. Nash palms it down to Moore. Had one arm pinned. Just got it away, and then it's back amongst the congestion. And this is going to be holding the ball too. There must be 12 players in this pack over the footy. In comes McDonald. 20 out, directly in front, and he kicks the goal.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Hawks with the advantage at the end of one here at the MCG. Big crowd in the top tier all around the ground is pretty well populated this evening. And it is Hawthorn 3-3-21 to Collingwood 1-4-10. Squally showers throughout the afternoon in Melbourne. It's barely made it out of double digits. It's been a really typical winter's day that it has not kept plenty of fans in both brown and gold and black and white away from the MCG for this Saturday twilight clash. Joel Peterson and Andrew Mays calling it for you on ABC Sport. Tim Hodges is downstairs. We'll get the thoughts of Mick Malthouse and Rod Jamieson very shortly. Big win to the Saints in the AFL earlier today. GWS by 39 over the Gold Coast Suns. Later on tonight, Port Adelaide and Richmond for our South Australian audience at the Adelaide Oval. And for most of you, it'll be Geelong and the Western Bulldogs from down at Cardinia Park. Of course, the Melbourne Storm in action just across the road here later tonight against the Sydney Roosters in the National Rugby League. So top of the table clash there should be an absolute ripper. The Knights and the Broncos getting underway soon. Earlier today, the Rabbitohs 42 defeated West Tigers 28. The Rugby Union, Mick, you're after a score here. Georgia have just scored. We're 10 minutes into the second half up in Sydney. Australia 26 to Georgia 24. Does that concern you, the Wallabies?
Well, look, I've watched them play last fortnight against Wales, and Joe Smith's their new coach. Spent a little bit of time with him over in Ireland. Ripping bloke. He gets the team to play a certain type of role against the obvious strengths of the opposition. I like the way he goes about it. I thought the Australian players played some fantastic rugby, and we're 2-0. So, but I wouldn't have thought that he would be liking that scoreline. He does change. He's changing the side around a fair bit to see what he's got in front of him. So it gives him an idea of what calibre Australian rugby's in. But 26-24. Yeah, I'd like to be 26-4, but I'm being one-eyed there.
Yeah.
And Georgia, you just asked a question. They beat Japan last week.
Yep.
And they've beaten Italy recently, so they certainly are pretty good at rugby.
No pushovers, that's for sure. It's sports lovers' heaven at the moment, isn't it? The Tour de France, the penultimate stage tonight. Tadej Pogacar putting more time into them last night, so the battle really for second between Jonas Vingegaard and Remco Evenepoel in that. Of course, the Olympics just round the corner, third round of the Open Championships at Royal Troon. Shane Lowry leads by a couple of shots in that, so plenty of sport right across the world. We'll keep you updated here on ABC Sport of all of that. Jamo and Mick, your thoughts on that first term here at the MCG, Hawks by 11?
Well, you're right. We just spoke about how further Hawthorn should be in front going into the break, only 11 points up. They've had all the footy, time in possession, all their way. The disposals, what probably stood out was the glaring marks inside 50. It was 4 to Collingwood, none to Hawthorn.
Yeah.
So they've had to work really hard. They've done all the work to get it in there, but they just haven't been clean enough. And around the ground, 20 marks, Collingwood, 12 to Hawthorn. So if they can tidy that up, Nick, they've got the game plan to work their way through.
Stoppage work, they've done well on Nick Dacos. They've cleaned up there. They've got contested position, everything except the marks in the forward line.
0437
Long way to go.
774 774 if you want to get involved with us on the broadcast. Love to hear from you wherever you're listening, right around our great land or abroad. Second term is underway. Pies kicking to the punt road end. Darcy Cameron gets them moving in that direction, but Nash cuts it off. Handball forward from Newcombe, straight back to DeGoey. Kicks inside forward 50. Kruger had a play at it, couldn't take the mark. Now Sicily, 35 out from his defensive goal. He's tackled by Elliott. Ball not coming loose. And we will have a ball up. So Pies 1 goal 4 in that first term. Hawks 3 goal 3. They kicked the last 2 of the opening term, the Hawks, after James Warple got them started with the first of the match.
Tossed up, Newcombe caught one in the face. Might have been a bit of friendly fire there. Might have a blood nose for
I think it was friendly. Oh, actually, no, I don't think it was friendly fire. I think it was, and I don't think there was any malice at all in.
No, it's
who was it?
Jamie Elliott.
I think it was it? I think it was Kruger. No, both had, both.
Jamie Elliott's coming off with the blood rule as well, so I think he caught one in the nose too. So there was heads flying everywhere in that contest.
A little bit of injury news coming through as well. Jordan Butts, the Adelaide defender, has been sidelined by a Liz Frank injury in his left foot following last night's win over Essendon. So club will determine the best course of treatment for the big tall defender, but that is a
shocker,
sour note out of last night's win, Jamo.
Well, there'll be a couple more, I think, to wait on too. Nick Murray coming back from the ACL. Jordan Dawson looked a little bit sluggish and slow towards the end. So.
Well, he'll miss one because of that protocol, I think, Dawson.
Did he get tested last night?
Yeah.
And then we'll wait and see on Ben Keys as to how he goes this week.
From the stoppage, Kruger coming off while this play's going on. Dacos, Nick at that time, got an inside attacking 50, but the Hawks are there to swoop, and one of them is Nash streaming away for defensive 50, gets it to left half forward. Chol playing from behind, couldn't do anything in that contest. Ginnivan at ground level, he's been everywhere. Hand pass was great too to Moore, who fires from 50, low skidding ball, and hits the post. First score of the second term is a behind, 3-4-22 the Hawks, 1-4-10 the Pies.
Having a terrific year, Dylan Moore. 27 goals, 8 he's kicked now with that behind. His conversion rate was right up there. Pies bring it back in. Newcombe takes possession and blasts it out on the bench. Let's go downstairs to Tim Hodges. Hodgie, they're busy down there.
Yeah, it's a patch-up job at the Collingwood at the moment. Nathan Kruger's gone down to the rooms with that bloodied mouth, and Jamie Elliott looks for the world that's a cracked nose, that it's pouring out of his nose. So the doctor is with him.
Thanks, Hodgie. Gee, big mark from McStay. That's a really nice sign.
I don't think anyone can go with McStay in height-wise, because Sicily won't put his arms up because of his shoulder. Just with that one arm.
Defensive side of the wing. So McStay kicked it to Sicily, who then jabs it down the line at the feet of Nash in front of the interchange gates. Dacos tried to slip the tackle high from Meek. Umpire wave play on. Sicily on the outside of the boot. That was crafty to get it to Jath, who tried to get it back to Sicily and missed him. Then side bottom tries to toe poke it straight into Jath, and the ball will go out of bounds for a throw in.
Yeah, I just watching Sicily then defend that. That's one arm up. That's his dislocated shoulder. He'll get a lot of work done after the finals if they make it, or before. Clearly, if they look like missing out. But
talk about just throwing a boot at it from James Sicily.
Yeah,
Gaelic football, wasn't
it? Yeah. Oh, he's a brilliant player.
Toss back into play. Meek wins it down to the run of Nash. Kept it in front and then slapped it to the side of the pack. Side bottom in there. Key hand from Nash. It ricocheted over to Jaffa, who was caught holding the ball. And it's a turnover ball. Nice tackle by Pendlebury. So Pendlebury directing traffic.
His first possession.
398th game, Maisie.
Kick inside, attacking 50 is good too to Cameron, who rises and takes the mark right on the paint of 50. 15 metres inside the boundary. Left half forward. He's got a player on in the pocket as well. He chips short. McInnes had just got a little bit of space on a couple of opponents. Or is it Crisp? It is Crisp downstairs, who will kick with his left, and he's just tucked in the left forward pocket here. So challenging kick.
Terrible defence by Hawthorn. They just turned their back on him and left the player 20 metres away from the kicker. These are the things that Hawthorn need to patch up to be a really good football side.
So in comes Crisp from 45. It's across the face of goal. It'll land short, actually, and a couple of Hawthorn fists there to knock it through, including Meek, the decisive one for a rushed behind. 3-4-22 Hawthorn. 1-5-11 the Pies, approaching the 5-minute mark of the second term.
If you're playing the game, Maisie, you bring your mouth guard, you bring your boots. If you're calling the game, you bring the stat that Jack Crisp is playing consecutive game 231.
Jock's mouth guard towel.
Yep. 12 off Jim Steins is Jack Crisp for that record of all-time consecutive games. 10 seasons in a row without missing one. Turnover at half-back for the Pies, who are about to jam it back inside the forward 50, and Chol's got it up on the wing. Now Cal Shadir between the wing and half-forward. He's got the runner outside in Ward, who can use his pace for Hawthorn. Gets to 55, centering kick toward Ginnivan. Lipinski was up, Ginnivan stayed down. Watson tries to burrow himself into the tackle. Umpire will give him a free kick.
Yep, he's lowered himself into the tackle there. That is not a free kick under any circumstances. If you know it's coming and you lower your body, that umpire should just say it's because he's lowered his body.
Well, interestingly, the umpire who paid it was the furthest away from the play.
Was it?
Inside the centre square, yeah. So the two closest didn't call it.
Well, they had the better view.
Yeah, agreed.
A little bit on with Jack Ginnivan at the bottom of the pack as well, surrounded by Magpies.
They're all at him.
Meanwhile, his running mate up front, Nick Watson. Kicked a crucial goal last week for the Hawks. 4 goals, 12 from set shots. Has struggled to find the kicking boots so far this season, but he loves that. And so too do the Hawthorn fans packed in around this cavernous stadium. Hawks out by a game-high 17 points. 4-4-28 to Collingwood 1-5-11. They get the first of the second term. They've got 3 in a row in the ball game. 6 gone here on ABC Sport.
Well, he did. He came in really low, didn't he, at that time?
But he stayed low and then went further. Right. That's not one, not the spirit of the game, but it's also the umpires have said if you lower yourself into a tackle and draw that. Yeah. You're in possession.
He's waist-tighted when he starts, anyway.
Well, he is.
You just wonder what Lipinski is meant to do in that situation.
Well, he's lonely. So I think it's holding the ball. You've launched yourself into a player who holds you and gets you high. Bad luck. It's holding the ball.
Well, it's coincidental or accidental. It doesn't matter. If you're high, you're high.
Back in the middle, palmed down by the Collingwood ruckman in Cameron, straight to the Hawthorn ruckman in Meek, and then they tackled each other. We'll reset and go again. So holding free kick here. He is going the way of Cameron in the ruck. So Cameron will take the free kick. He flares it out to right half back, where Quainer takes the mark. He called to play on quickly. He kicks to right half forward. Hawks with the numbers here. Well, gets over the back of the pack. Richard just slaps at the space. Amon slapped at the way of Impey, and he heard the voice in Sicily outside of him. Sicily off the instep on that occasion. It pitches a metre inside the boundary, and it'll be a throw-in about 20 metres behind halfway for the Pies. They currently trail by 17 points as the rain comes down.
Oh, gee.
It started A little bit more gently, but it is certainly coming down now. Out of the southwest here in Melbourne this afternoon. Very windy couple of days throughout South Australia and in Victoria as well. Heyman is dived upon by Josh Dacos.
It'll be interesting to see who adjusts the best here. It's just long kicks, it's ground. Keep the ball in your forward line.
Fans reaching for ponchos, and our man Hodgie's just sticking strong down there.
He's taking his shirt off.
Through gritted teeth. And a ball up again as Long picks himself up off the ground. He's been involved plenty against his former side, the mid-season draftee of the Pies. Played the last two for Collingwood. They trail by 17 points. Hack kick forward for Hawthorn is cut off by Nick Dacos. Runs in an arc on the AFL logo out of side. Kicks back toward half forward. Day might have had the arms chopped. Umpire says play on. Warple picks it up. Handball back to Impey. Now to Ginnivan. Neat kick out wide. D'Ambrosio. Nice juggling mark as he takes it down low. And it is really tumbling down now.
As a runner outside, that's Scrimshaw. Long hand pass around the boundary to Newcomb. His kick inboard went about 5 metres. D'Ambrosio was good enough to get it by hand to Ginnivan, who kicks high towards left half forward. Good luck marking those. Big fist by Hoskin Elliott on that occasion. Nick Dacos now at ground level. He's met by McDonald. Didn't get boot to ball. Umpire said play on. The Hawks almost prevail, although Maynard positioned himself nicely. He's dispossessed. Good tackle by Deere. Heard the run of McDonald. McDonald fires from 45. It's near side. One behind.
Can you see that?
Just.
Wow.
4-5-29. The Hawks. 1-5-11. And this is as heavy as it gets.
I think the challenge for the Hawks at the moment in the first quarter, they've got the game plan to work their way through, and it's been by hand as the ball goes over the boundary line here on the half forward line for the Hawks. But with this weather, Mick, are they going to continue that same? That's right. So.
And this will be a good testing thing for Mitchell to see where that message can get out there. Minimise. Look, play 30 more possessions in Collingwood. Minimise possessions. Just get ground because they're getting the ball enough. It's got to be depth that you use it.
You can hear it in the effects, Mike. It is teeming down here at the MCG. It hasn't stopped the forward foray for Collingwood as Pendlebury kicks inside forward 50. Outstanding defence from Impey. Running back with the flight, able to paddle it away from Hill, who's back onto it in a flash. Sells some candy, steps around, hooks it back. Bobby, no.
Well, great play by both lads. Really great play. Well, that's the sort of stuff. In conditions like this, everyone says, oh, it slows everyone down. No, the best players, the cream comes to the top. The Impey and Bobby Hill then were outstanding.
Hawthorn by 17. Heyman with the big kick in. He just slaps it to the back of the pack, but it's all Pies. Oh, big fend there by Maynard, and I reckon he's actually fended Ginnivan high on that occasion, who's still down there, very slow to get to his feet. And Ginnivan just getting up now. That was could have been a little nasty in the end.
He's actually Jack's actually going okay at the moment.
Very well.
He's had a fair bit of the footy. He's leading possessions for 15 disposals. Sicily 11. Over the other side, Josh Dacos with 11 and Nick with 8 for Collingwood.
Ginnivan to Sicily, long kick, and it's out of bounds. Left half forward here for Hawthorn. What do you see there, Mick? With the
I just think the forearm up like that just smacks you straight in the chin. There's almost like a case for it, like at least being looked at.
Yeah, they just showed that on the replay then, Mick, too. It's a right arm left, straight up to the jaw.
Yeah, it's not as a hand fend off. This is a forearm come elbow.
Yeah, he might be in a bit of strife.
Well, who would know? I'm quite happy about tackles and this sort of stuff, but that is deliberate.
Stoppage at half forward for the Hawks. Newcomb extracts it to D'Ambrosio, kicks to full forward. Scholl sliding out. Got a hand in there to knock it away from him, and we'll have a ball in left forward pocket. We want to keep an eye on, that is for sure. The match review officer's work has been somewhat of a lottery, so you never know what you might get.
It's not like Forrest Gump in that box of chocolates. It's anything.
Could be chucked in there with the supplementaries at some stage. Newcomb with a soccer off the ground at the stoppage. Deep forward for Hawthorn. Darcy Moore's there in defence. Nick Dacos just tumbles a kick out wide. Terrific mark from Frost sliding in. Grabs it at left half forward.
He can go long here as well, inside attacking 50. Couple of options short, one of them's aim on, but he's going to just pop it up. Good luck marking that in these conditions. More with the fist over from the back of the pack. Oh, Maynard, blind handball, gave it straight up. Luckily, he had teammates there ready to pounce and tackle, and it is a good holding the ball free kick, and it'll be Josh Dacos to take it in the right back pocket. Downstairs, Tim Hodges.
The substitution has been made for Collingwood. Nathan Kruger has been downstairs for 7 minutes. The doctors just returned and said he's no good. So Lockie Sullivan has been activated. So he's just doing some warm-ups right in front of me. So this is a big blow, but maybe taking a big guy out isn't the worst option for the Magpies right now with this torrential rain.
Yeah, you're right, Timmy. There's no question.
It's a good shout. So that'll be interesting to see how that affects the dynamic of the game. Sullivan kicked a couple in the VFL last week. Maynard off half-back for the Pies. Overcooks the kick. It barrels a lot. Impey and Scrimshaw ran straight past it, and McInnes hardly hit his boot. Dribbled to Sicily. Mind you, reports it's hailing downstairs at the moment as Pendlebury is awarded a free kick. So it's coming down in icicle form now. Pendlebury just waltzes away in game 398. Sends it to full forward. How could you possibly catch that? You get a handful of ice if you try and mark it at the moment. It is bucketing down at the MCG. Minor score to Collingwood, 16-point margin. This is extraordinary.
Good luck, Hodgie.
Well, I flew across this morning from Adelaide. We had all of this yesterday in Adelaide. They were suggesting 100-kilometre winds.
You could have warned us.
Long kick to the wing, and the Hawks are almost out here. Chain of hand passes ends up with D'Ambrosio. Chip over the top is good in the conditions. Good mark there by Bruce. Off to Watson. Darts back inside. Snaps and does it beautifully. Watson in the wet. 15 minutes played, second term. Hawthorn with the only 2 goals of this second term. And Watson's got a couple himself.
Well, that's come from the back half. And it's very unusual in this sort of weather that you're able to get that football all the way back from your half-back line into a scoring position, albeit the fact again, no mark. It was carried into the front 50. But beautiful goal, beautiful finish.
5-5-35 the Hawks, 1-7-13 the Pies. 15 played second term.
Might have found Nick Watson's conditions here at the moment. He was 7-19 coming into this game. Pouring rain, and he's kicked 2 for the Hawks in this second quarter.
It's just about custom made for Nick Watson.
I was a Hawks man growing up. I don't know whether to channel Don Scott or Dermot Brereton the way Weddle's running out of defence. I didn't see Dermy go that quick, but
no. Wet weather footy. You've just got to move it forward and keep it forward.
This is old school at the home of footy. Free kick in the middle.
Oh, Meek again.
Going to Cameron. So Darcy Cameron to take it from the centre circles. The Pies down by 22. And they need to mount the challenge. Rain is teeming down here at the MCG. Bashed defensively by D'Ambrosio inside the back 50. Not going to work out well. Nick Dacos grabs it outside of the boot. McStay got 2 hands to it. But it trickles across the goal line for a rush behind. Margin 21. Pies 1-8. Hawthorn 5-5 through 17 in the second.
Who punched that back by Hawthorn? That was just incredible to punch it back into play, not only into play, but into a line of Collingwood players.
Might have been Scrimshaw, I think.
So now Collingwood with it in the middle. Crisp, hand pass to Noble, to Lipinski. Now to side bottom, who's forced to snap off his left. He'll gain good territory as well. It scoots over the back. Now Sicily is mobbed by Nick Dacos. Just got rid of it to Warple. Stood up nicely in the tackle. Off to Newcomb. Hand pass back. He finds Hardwick, who just kicks 50 metres forward to the wing. More in there. Decisive. Went about 25 metres. It almost stayed in. In fact, it did for Sullivan. Not quite. Out of bounds as it's hurled back by Steele Sidebottom to the boundary. Umpire will have a throw in just forward of centre wing here for Collingwood. They currently trail by 21 points.
They play a genuine team defence, Collingwood, don't they?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Second, third one up.
Plastic ponchos dotted around the MCG in the lower bowl at the moment. With his consistent reign, Amon off the stoppage, just punches it forward for the Hawks. Tumbling kick inside the forward 50. Chol soccers it out wide. 45 out from goal. Josh Dacos left it behind. Still a chance for the Hawks. Chol around the body. His soccer almost ended up in the lap of Bruce, who couldn't collect a greasy ball. And it'll be thrown back in.
The methodology is fine. You're not marking the ball inside the front 50. What you're doing is you're keeping the ball in the front 50. Right now we've got... that's 10 to 24 for the game, is it?
No, 8 to 6.
8 to 6 for this quarter. This quarter. It's still... Yeah, it's 24 to the Hawks, though, for the game.
So Hawks by 21 inside the forward 50. They've kicked the past 4 goals in the ball game. Side bottom just hacks it across the defensive 50 for the Pies. Jath will get there. So too will Bobby Hill. Quaynor soccers it off the ground out toward the boundary line. Jath muscles him off the footy. Bobby Hill then gets there. Jath brings him to ground. It's slapped over and out in front of the members' stand. It's hard going at the moment. Slippery, wet conditions here. Twilight footy on ABC Sport. It's the Pies by trailing by 21.
Jath was great then defensively, just to keep the footy alive. Probably a little unlucky Hawks not to get a free. Bobby Hill just tapping it out of bounds.
Ginnivan off the ground this time from the stoppage. Gained 30 metres, but Kleiner was there to intercept. Sullivan's dispossessed. Great pressure again by the Hawks. Moore up against the boundary line. He pitches it in, and it's okay because it's about a 40-metre win. A ball in to take place. Right forward pocket for Hawthorn. 35 plays 14. About to tick into time on in this second term. Collingwood haven't kicked the goal since the 4-minute mark of the opening quarter. Ball now spinning back into play. Meek and Cameron to go at it again as we get almost a reprieve from the weather at the moment. Coming through was Jath. He was dispossessed. Nash's kick went nowhere. Actually ricocheted back to him. He's able to squirt it out to Ginnivan though, and then a tumbling kick by Bruce inside attacking 50. It's off the boot there of Mark Goff, and very luckily pitches a metre inside and out of play. We'll have a ball in pretty much the same position, 40 around from the Hawthorn goal.
Hawks have got the one sitting behind in a very, very good spot. He's smack bang in the middle of the ground. I just can't quite make it as, but it's a Hawthorn setup. Collingwood have got the extra, and that looks like Quaynor. That's under pressure, though, where he is.
It's Josh Weddle in the middle of the ground. Hands on hips at the moment for the Hawks. Bruce off the stoppage. Around the body to himself. He tried to keep it in and couldn't do so. It's out. Let's go downstairs to Hodgie.
Just the Magpies have passed on to us that Nathan Kruger officially out of the game with concussion, so that rules him out of next week. It really does open the door for Mason Cox, who's returning to the VFL this week to make his AFL return all going well. So Kruger out with concussion, and Sullivan comes into this game.
Thanks, Hodgie. Richmond next week for the Pies. Here's Warple off the stoppage. Puts it on the left boot. High kick is away to the left. And a minor score, 5-6 to 1-8. As Maisie said, Collingwood haven't kicked a goal since the 4-minute mark of the first term. We are 21 through the second.
Maynard receives the kick in, then a long kick towards Long over his head, in fact. Scrimshaw at the back just boots it back inside attacking 50. They had one out the back there. Deer had got into a bit of space, so it's a good spoil by Howe to ensure it couldn't get to him. And a ball in to take place 40 around from the Hawthorn goal.
Collingwood need to tighten up around the throw-ins and around that 3-4 Hawthorn have kicked from stoppages and throw-ups to 1-2 for Collingwood.
Thrown back into play. Meek. Bruce just had a metre on his opponent again. Got the hand pass out to Warple. Warple back into traffic. Pendlebury had to wait for it. He was pushed off the footy in the end, and now it is a free kick, and it's going the way of Bruce.
Yeah, over-exuberant. Just really poor tackle. That was by Mark Goff. It's okay when you say put your head down, but when your head's already down, you can't then. There's no excuse for you. You've just got to get underneath the player.
Sneaking 300 games, Luke Bruce, and he had a bit of toe in that last run, didn't he? He turns 34 in November this year.
Classy finisher, Luke Bruce. He'll line up 45-degree angle to the right. He'll kick from just inside 40, trots in and does it absolutely beautifully. And a big celebration as well. His second. Hawthorn small forwards getting to work this afternoon. 6-6-42. Plays 1-8-14. 22 minutes played in the second term here on Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
There was still 6 minutes of live football. I got caught up in the time ones and that. The 6 minutes of, regardless of whatever happens, it's plenty of time for Collingwood to settle and pinch 1 or 2 goals. To go in at half time with 3 on the board, and if they can hold the Hawthorn Football Club to 6, it's something to build on in the third quarter. There's not going to. We know with the weather it's not going to be a big score, but you can score quick with the wet if you move the ball quickly, like Hawthorn did with young Watson kicking those goals. That come out of the back line. Collingwood are a good running back line side, but Hawthorn at the moment, their strength has been at the footy. That's where Collingwood can get better.
There's more rain coming as well on the radar. Pendlebury sockers it away from the middle. Hawks working defensively after the restart. D'Ambrosio got it from Day to Scrimshaw across halfback. D'Ambrosio then hurries the kick down the line. It works out nicely, lands into the lap of Ward. Ward goes over the top to Dylan Moore, who's got some space and kicks up to half forward for Ginnivan, who rolls and hands it back to Moore, who breaks through the 50. Centering kick. Jack getting back there. Can't take the mark. It kept in front of it though. McDonald off the ground. And these rising Hawks are rampaging over the Magpies. Margin out to 34. 7-6-48. Collingwood 1-8-14. Connor McDonald's got 2. And Collingwood have got a problem.
That was under a minute.
Yeah. But what you said and asked of Collingwood, that's exactly what Hawthorn just did the other way down the outer side. But for me, their defence is really standing up, and they are persevering with that handball to cut their way and craft their way through the Collingwood. Collingwood is going to zone off and push back. And it was a classic example then, wasn't it? Ginnivan just there, Darcy Moore's on the mark, and the runner just runs past, and then that forward handball, you just, as a defence, you can't even get to him. And you've already got a couple of 3 metres on him.
Chol having a run in the ruck. There was a couple of fresh air shots there, and Nash sorted it out. Socket at Ford, inside attacking 50. Well gathered there by Hoskin Elliott. Good kick too, to the advantage of Crisp, who dropped the mark initially. Then he might have been taken high as he socket off the ground. Umpire said play on, and that's a mark to Impey in front of the interchange benches.
Just zoning off here, Collingwood. He's asking to push back, mark off.
Impey, as long as he can. More in prime position. Good fist from the back. Crisp at the front. He's tackled immediately. Good stuff by Day. Strong in that tackle. He was going nowhere. We'll have a ball in front of the MCC members. A metre inside the boundary.
36-30 tackles in favour of the Hawks.
Expect that number to rise as these greasy conditions persist. Nash just forces his way through the ruck contest, hooks it around the body inside the 50, and an absolute sack of a thing is dragged in by Ginnivan.
Well, that'd be the worst thing for any Hawthorn Collingwood supporter is to see probably the first mark we've seen inside the front 50. Is that the first mark?
It would be, yes.
They've already. I know there's 7 goals, but this is the first mark, and guess who takes it?
Yeah.
I mean, that would be. Yeah.
Jack's had 18 disposals for the game thus far, leading the way for the Hawks with Sicily 14.
So against his former side at the ground where they had so much to celebrate at the end of last year, his kick doesn't even go close. It didn't have the journey, it didn't have the accuracy, didn't really have a lot to like about it. It's off hands and it is through for a boundary throw in left forward pocket. Hawks into attack up by 34.
He stabbed that kick and he ran close to the man on the mark. All the things you expect that you shouldn't do, he did.
This is where they've been scoring here. Collingwood need to be fully aware.
Thrown back into play. Nash palms it to the danger zone, picked up by Crisp. He's taken immediately in a tackle. Going nowhere. A ball up to take place 20 metres out directly in front of the Hawthorn goal.
1-6 marks inside 50.
Yeah. 34 points the margin in favour of the Hawks. Can they go further in front here? Crisp. Strange hand pass to no one. Had to follow up his work. Tapped it forward. Then diving on it was Newcomb. And umpire says he'll have it, which is an interesting decision. Surely he dived on that and didn't make an attempt to get rid of it. But anyway.
Yeah.
Nash in ruck for the Hawks, slaps it inside the forward 50. Ginnivan to Watson to Chol, 15 out, left foot kick. No.
Lazy.
He's done it again.
Really lazy.
Missed it to the left-hand side. It would have put them 40 points to the good Instead, the margin is 35, 27 and a half gone in the second term the way of the Hawks.
There's two like that, one in the first, one in the second. For the Hot Pies to get into this.
We just didn't put any pressure, didn't put anything in it. Just
De Goey's only had one touch in this quarter.
Right.
You know, like all their Jets have been really quiet. You've got Jack Crispus had the 4, Josh Dacos the 4 only, and Nick with 5.
How to Hoskin Elliott, and a great mark by McStay considering the conditions.
Yeah, too right it was.
He's behind centre wing, loads up with that left boot, goes as far as he can, but Sicily was the only man, almost took that uncontested in the end.
They had the extra one, and I reckon Sicily's always tries to work himself as the extra one.
So Sicily at left half back for the Hawks. Conservative with the kick, down the wing. Moore with another good fist, although Day's there to mop up for the Hawks. Ginnivan was the voice outside that Nash heard, and he gave it to him. Ginnivan trying to get around Nick Dacos. Got the hand pass back to Nash. Kicks inside 50, just over the head of Watson. Over the back, running onto it is Jaff. Into the right forward pocket. Can he bend it back? Not quite enough. We'd have to almost defy physics. That kick, 28 played, second term. 7-8-50 the Hawks, 1-8-14 the Pies.
Why is he stopping that?
I think it might have hit maybe the right point post, so they might be suggesting it could be no score and out the full. The Hawks 16-7 inside 50s this quarter. They've just played Collingwood to a bit in this first half.
Connor Nash has had the last 4 by himself.
Yeah.
So
the Ark's back up and running, which is good to see after the outage yesterday.
The
early games today.
106 to 77 possessions in the first quarter. So far this quarter, it's 95 to 56. It's a saturation by Hawthorn.
Yeah.
And really, I don't know whether 6 goals is the on a day like this, it's fantastic for the Hawthorn. But really, when you've dominated a side by so much,
should be way further in front, isn't it? Yeah, it's hit there, so it's out on the full.
No, it's insufficient evidence from
no, I can see it from here, Joel.
2 cameras a mile away from the goals that could not possibly tell us decisively whether that has happened or not.
We obviously don't have Snicko either on the behind post.
Not on the little ones. That seems
I don't know why.
Well, it seems like a failing in the system that's got plenty of failings. Anyway, Pies bring it back into play. Jaff pinches it immediately. Handball forward. Knocked down by Elliott, who then soccers it off the ground. Up toward half forward for the Pies, but Sicily's the goalkeeper. Loops the handball infield. Nash fumbles it, then fumbled it away in the end. Looking for Ward. Picked up by McInnes. Off to Lipinski. Lipinski kicks to full forward. McStay got hands to it. He was held. And he'll get a free.
Is Nash not the worst hand pass I've seen?
He should love these conditions, the big Irishman, too. But Jarman Impey was just exceptional in his defensive work and really stiff then on that occasion. The umpires called chopping the arms.
So Dan McStay missed one earlier. And he's got a set shot here, 20 metres out. Slight angle left of centre. Missed the grand final with a PCL. Did his ACL in late November. He's back here and missing this one away to the right-hand side. 1 goal, 9 Collingwood. Hawthorn 7-8-50. The margin is 35 points the way of the Hawks, and we are 31 minutes through the second term.
Ooh, dodgy kicking as well. It's intercepted by Lipinski. Off to Nick Dacos, who misses. 20 out directly in front, went with the outside of the boot and sprayed it across the face.
Well, that's Hawthorn. This is what Collingwood are sweating on. Mistakes, getting a bit ahead of themselves, and we've seen poor hand passes, poor disposal, and poor selection of what to do with the football. Collingwood thrive on that. 2 set shot.
So 1 goal, 10. 34 points the margin. Hardwick bashes it back in for the Hawks. It gets thumped back the other way for the Pies, but Sicily stands in the road. Handball to D'Ambrosio under pressure. Got it away to Meek. He kicks a flower bag down the wing. Ginnivan slides in. Can't take it. Now Hoskin Elliott got it from Cameron, tumbles it to half forward. Dacos lands in his lap, 60 from home. Nick Dacos with the Sherrin in his hands. It's a wet Sherrin with the rain falling here at the MCG, and he drops the kick inside the 50 to Lipinski, who extends the arms to mark 40 metres out directly in front, and he'll have just about the last kick of the half.
Well, defensively the Hawks haven't been too bad, but some poor areas, as Mick you just touched on as well, but defensively there to allow Lipinski, that space. Very poor.
Haven't kicked one since the 4-minute mark of the opening term. To say they need it is an understatement. And Lipinski hits the post. He strikes the right hand upright 2/3 of the way up. And they go to 1-11, the Pies.
Kick in a little better this time to Sicily, who marks on his chest. Gets the advice from a couple of teammates, so he just lobs it quite centrally to the wing, Moore with a big fist. It falls the way of Jack, though, who just kicks it as far as he can, end over end, inside attacking 50. It pitches at 40. And Isaac Quainer picks it up and hands it back to the umpire as the half-time siren goes. 7-8-50 the Hawks, 1-11-17 the Pies. Goal kickers for the Hawks, 2 to Bruce, 2 to McDonald, 2 to Watson and 1 to Warple, while Reece McInnes is the only goal kicker still at half-time for the Pies.
They've had plenty of opportunities, Collingwood. They've squandered most of them. And they go into half-time trailing by 33 points. 1 goal 11 to 7 goals 8. The Hawks kicking 4 goals 5 in that term. Collingwood kicking 7 behinds. James Sicily in conversation with his team coming off the ground, and you'd imagine the conversations now for Collingwood are vastly different, because we've seen this so many times from them before, but it is a mountain to climb in these conditions when they've only kicked 1 goal to half-time, and they need 6 to get ahead of the ball game. Hawks by 33 at the half here at the MCG. Big crowd, rain falling, wintry Saturday afternoon in Melbourne. 0437 774 774 to get in touch with our experts who are about to give you their thoughts on the first half. Rod Jamieson and Mick Malthouse.
Well, Rod, 145 possessions Collingwood, Hawthorn 211. You'd almost say what's overuse. I don't know. I don't think it's overuse. I think it's just been a domination of being in the right spot at the right time. Yes, they've kicked 7 goals 8 and been inside the front 50 33 times for 15 scores. As a coach, I'd always like to think that you've got something like about 50+% when you go inside your front 50. On a wet day like this, that's pretty good. 15 out of 33. Collingwood on the other side, they've scored 12 out of 17. So, technically speaking, percentage-wise, they've done everything right except kick goals. They've had, 3 or 4 really comfortable shots at goal and missed them all. They are marking the ball inside the front 50. Hawthorn aren't marking it, but they've been able to get Collingwood up the ground, move them, and on the fly, being able to find space, being able to find players that can be in the best position to kick goals. So, all up, if Collingwood are going to get back in this game, we've got, I'll say now, Josh Dacos has had 12, Nick Dacos has had 12. Not a great deal of effect of either. Nick's pretty clean with, well, he's gone at 50%, but I still think he's clean. Jack Crisp has had 10, Pendlebury's had 9. But it's the players who you want running the football out of the back line or through the middle, side bottom. Quaynard, Maynard, they've had 6. Hoskin Elliott's had 6, but when you look at the metres, and this is the classic, the way I see it on a wet day, Collingwood have done 2,500 metres. For those that are wondering what I'm talking about there, it's progressing the ball from where you are down the line, not crossways. You can go crossways all you like. You don't get anything. You go backwards, you lose ground. Hawthorn, 3,100. So we're looking at a 600 metre difference at half time, and that's probably reflective. 100 metres per goal.
Yeah. And
that's probably, in a nutshell, that's it. There's no I don't think there's a Hawthorn that's dominant. I think they've all participated. I don't think there's any really bad players playing for Collingwood, but they just need to lift probably 10%'s too much. Let's say 5% to get back in the game.
Yeah, no, they've certainly got to do a little bit more. The individuals, you're right, like the furthest they've done is 187. That's Nick Dacos. And then you have a look on the other side. Ginnivan's 284 metres gains. Sicily 407 metres gains. Blake Harwood 249.
Half-back.
And it goes on.
Two backline players there.
Yeah, so the handball receives. I think the defensive work, they're continuing with that quick handball to carve their way through. They're getting it down the line. They're creating opportunities. The stoppages would be, I think that's where Craig McRae would be livid in terms of where they've got their scores from. Then they have got it in to their forward 50, the boundary throw, like probably the easiest one to set up. Defend, where's your man, mark your territory, don't allow them to hit the contest on the way through.
And get extra number there.
And they've been doing it, and they've just actually carved Collingwood to pieces. And so I've actually liked Meek in the ruck and what he's done. He's given away a couple of frees, but he's been really physical. I think most of them have around the ground, like the Hawks. And I think they're up for the fight with it right from the outset. But they've genuinely dominated Collingwood. And I think Collingwood have really, again, they've struggled to, when they've won the footy, I've always loved Collingwood's efficiency when they play good football. But they've always pushed back, but they haven't been able to get the run and the rebound out of that half back to actually go forward. And I mean, whilst they've taken a number of marks inside their 50, I think it was 6, they've never really moved the footy as quickly as to what they normally would. And maybe part of that is conditions, but I think it's a big tick to Sam Mitchell and the way the Hawks have played.
And they look really organised around those stoppages, really, from the word go. James Sicily's second term, so 14 disposals he had in that second term. He was just a wall. He was impenetrable across half-back for the Hawks.
Well, if you want to... It's a bit like Tom Stewart. If you want to disrupt Geelong, you have 6 forwards. So Stewart then has to pick someone up and you make sure that he's probably the one to get your tag and put him under pressure. For the life of me, I can't understand why a side takes away a forward and leaves a Sicily. Unless you are prepared to have one of your other 5 forwards go straight to Sicily and try to free up, say, who would I say? I would say it would have to be, you don't want Impey because he'll go straight to Frost. Clean up. Frost is okay, but his disposal compared to Sicily is not as good. But Collingwood persist on having the extra player at the ball or behind the ball. Now that's okay. In yesteryear, that was last year, but they're getting picked off now. So the pressure at the ball means that a kick comes in, Sicily's either marking it or on the receiving end of a hand pass or whatever the case may be. I don't think he's been dominant, but if you're going to be at the wall there and the opposition still had 12 possessions, still had 12 kicks on goal to 15. So there's not a lot in that. It's simply... If you can't get the football on a day like this, and they are trailing in that area, Collingwood, by nearly 70 possessions, or thereabouts, it's almost like you've got to say to your midfield and your wingers and your halfbacks, get on your horse. You've just got to get going. You've got to get going. Get yardage on mongrel weather like this. It's the ball that slips out the back that's the most dangerous football. And Collingwood at this stage can't seem to be able to get that football flying into their forward line the way they have done in the past.
The contested footy, it's pretty similar, 72 to 61, but it's in Hawthorn's favour. So Newcombe, Warple, Nash, Day, Moore are doing exceptionally well. And then when they do that, it's out to the uncontested. It's 123 to 71.
Yeah.
So they're, whilst they are handballing probably a lot to work their way through, they're actually maintaining possession. So Collingwood can't actually win the football back.
And what else, can I just say, what I was pointing to you, your comments about the stoppages?
Yeah.
4-1 to 3 points.
Yeah. So that's an area that when you can control, because the game stopped, you can set up and get in the right positions, and they haven't been able to maintain the Hawks. So, there's a lot of... to see them in the flesh at the minute that I haven't seen a lot of the Hawks this year. They're suitably impressed.
Well, you wouldn't have said that in the first 5 rounds. Because have a look at their percentage. So if you go to Hawthorn's percentage, and that's why I look at Essendon.
Down at 95.
Well, it's 95, but you look at Essendon, they were in the top 2 or 3 with a percentage under 100. And I always believe the sides like that are highly vulnerable. But Hawthorn lost all that percentage in the first 5. Since then, they've been... I can't remember what their scores are. In fact, it's in this book here. But they've been gradually winning games by good amounts, solid amounts. They will end up at some stage this year probably close to 100%. Will that get them in the 8? Well, they've got to win this one. This one, I heard you before the game, Joel. I'm not convinced that the side that loses is fatal. I think they're injured, and the fatality situation would be probably in another week or 2. I just reckon that they've got another, because Essendon lost. I reckon it's giving the loser of this a bit of an out.
Yeah, there's a few teams that keep keeping the door open ahead of the pack, that is for sure. The thoughts of Mick Malthouse and Rod Jamieson at half-time on ABC Sport. 0437 774 774 if you have got a question for the AFL's coaching games record holder, Mick Malthouse, and the couple of time premiership player with the Crows, Rod Jamieson. Half-time here at the MCG. The Hawks 7-8-50. The Pies 1-11-17. So plenty being done right by the men in brown and gold at the half. But we know what this team of Craig McRae's can deliver in terms of comebacks. So much more to come here from the MCG for now. We'll get you to the latest from ABC News.
ABC News with Sally Ann Young. The White House says it's in regular contact with executives at CrowdStrike, the company tied to the global internet outage. Larry Buttrose has the details.
White House officials say President Joe Biden is continuing to receive updates on the situation. US federal agencies are also assessing the effects of the outage on government operations. These have included delays for people including returning US citizens entering the country from Canada in the north and Mexico in the south. The outage took down systems in a wide range of industries around the world, including health, travel, media and banking. Networks are coming back online across the globe, but it could be some time before all operations are back to normal.
Fake websites and phishing emails referencing CrowdStrike have been detected as cyber criminals attempt to steal personal details from people impacted by the worldwide outage. The director of CISO Lens, the peak body for cybersecurity executives, says businesses and people affected should only take advice from officials and trusted sources. Dave Cullen says about 60 fake websites set up by scammers pretending to be offering help with the outage have already been identified.
And we anticipate that list will grow exponentially over the coming days as cyber criminals attempt to leverage this incident, like they do other global events, as the basis for phishing campaigns and other malicious activity.
The federal government says it wants to see Israel take concrete steps to stop the expansion of settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. Foreign Minister Penny Wong issued the statement after the International Court of Justice published a ruling that Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territories is illegal under international law. The UN's top court also found Israel must pay repatriations for damage caused by its occupation. The South Australian State Emergency Service says it's had more than 450 requests for help since a cold front hit the state late yesterday. Overnight wind speeds reached more than 100 kilometres an hour at Cummins on Eyre Peninsula. A gust of 106 kilometres per hour was recorded at Mount Crawford in the Adelaide Hills late last night. Robert Charlton from the SES says many of the damage reports involved trees and branches falling in the Adelaide Hills and metropolitan areas and interregional areas.
Eyre Peninsula and West Coast and York Peninsula as well. Predominantly trees down, although we have seen some significant roof damage to a few buildings, but predominantly trees down. Quite a lot of trees on cars, but thankfully no injuries that we're aware of.
Meanwhile, the New South Wales SES has responded to more than 500 calls for help. The Bureau of Meteorology issued damaging wind warnings for much of the state's coastal areas, including in and around Sydney. In the alpine areas, winds have averaged 80 to 100 kilometres per hour. The SES says people should secure loose items in their backyards and should stay away from fallen trees and power lines. Overseas, Democrats in the US continue to weigh up President Joe Biden's chances of beating Republican Donald Trump in the November election, with one of them revealing an incident he found unsettling. More from the BBC's Peter Bowes.
Seth Moulton, a congressman from Massachusetts, was one of the first to speak out after the president's disastrous debate performance. Now he's elaborating on why he thinks his longtime mentor and friend should step down. Joe Biden, he says, used to greet him with a big, wide grin and say how glad he was to see the congressman. But last month, at a small gathering in France, he said the president didn't seem to recognise him. He says the incident led him to the crushing realisation that Joe Biden would be unable to defeat Donald Trump in November.
A judge in New York has set a tentative retrial date for Harvey Weinstein for November after the disgraced film producer's rape conviction was overturned earlier this year. Prosecutors plan to file additional violent sexual assault charges after other women agreed to testify. The newest accusers have yet to be publicly identified. Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years jail in 2020, but in April a Court of Appeals ruled he hadn't received a fair trial. And in sport, there have been two strong victories in the AFL round played today. St Kilda has easily defeated West Coast in their match, running away with the game by 72 points. GWS have soundly defeated Gold Coast at home, prevailing by 39 points, 89 to 50. ABC News.
The road to an Olympics or Paralympics is rarely straightforward. It's filled with pain, pressure and expectations.
The gold is always on my mind.
For me to go to the Olympics would be everything. Being able to bring home the first ever gold for Australia would be a very, very proud moment for me.
ABC Sports documentary Countdown to Paris follows 5 Australian athletes in their quest to make it to Paris 2024.
I knew straight away that qualifying for Paris was what I wanted to do.
The desire to make an Olympics never goes away.
Countdown to Paris is available to watch now on ABC iView and the ABC News In-Depth channel on YouTube.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Ward, who can use his pace for Hawthorn, gets the 55, centering kick toward Ginnivan. Lipinski was up, Ginnivan stayed down. Watson tries to burrow himself into the tackle. Umpire will give him a free kick. Nick Watson has struggled to find the kicking boots so far this season, but he loves that.
Chain of hand passes ends up with D'Ambrosio. Chip over the top is good in the conditions. Good mark there by Bruce. Off to Watson. Darts back inside. Snaps and does it beautifully. Watson in the wet. Bruce just had a metre on his opponent again. Got the hand pass out to Warple. Warple back into traffic. Pendlebury had to wait for it. He was pushed off the footy in the end. And now it is a free kick and it's going the way of Bruce. He'll kick from just inside 40. Trots in and does it absolutely beautifully.
Dylan Moore, who's got some space and kicks up to half forward for Ginnivan, who rolls and hands it back to Moore, who breaks through the 50. Centering kick. Jack getting back there. Can't take the mark. It kept in front of it though. McDonald off the ground.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Plenty of goals for the Hawks in that first half. Not so for Collingwood. 1 goal 11. The story of the half for the Pies. That's their score as we get set to go here in the second half. 1-11-17 to Hawthorn, 7-8-50 at the MCG. Big crowd in, rain is falling. It is a wintry old afternoon in Melbourne and both sides are out there feeling the full effect of it at the moment. Joel Peterson and Andrew Mays calling it for you on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us wherever you are, right around the country, right around the world. Later tonight for our South Australian audience, Port Adelaide and Richmond at the Adelaide Oval. For everyone else, it's Geelong and the Western Bulldogs. You can get a call of both games through the ABC Listen app, of course. The Wallabies and Georgia, Mick, that's a game that you were interested in earlier on tonight. Do you want to know the score? You were going to watch it later. You're happy to know the score?
Look, I was so nervous I looked over your shoulder.
40-29.
Well,
the Wallabies have got up.
That's the end of it?
Yep, that's all said and done.
Well, that's 3 in a row. It's fantastic for Joe Schmidt, or fantastic for Australia with a new coach. I like that scoreline.
The Super Netball Major Semi-Final, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, the mighty Thunderbirds, Jamo taking on the Melbourne Vixens. A 16-goal lead for the T-Birds.
At half-time?
So the T-Birds in action there in the Super Netball. Of course, they're entering their finals this weekend. In that competition tomorrow, the Fever and the Lightning in the minor semi-final.
Thunderbirds were premiers last year also too. So
fairy tale story after several years in the doldrums.
Tanya Obst.
Absolutely, some really good South Australian netball pedigree there. In the National Rugby League, the Rabbitohs 42 defeated West Tigers 28 earlier today. The Broncos up 6-0 on the Knights. Nearly half an hour gone there. Later tonight across the road, the Storm and the Roosters in what looms as a blockbuster clash. Of course, the Olympics not too far away as well. The Tour de France coming to an end. Third round of the Open Championship tonight also at Royal Troon. So plenty of sport right across the world. If you are into that kind of thing, and if you're listening to us, chances are you are. 0437 774 774. A question from Mick off the text line. From Trevor in the Sunshine Coast. I grew up in Box Hill. Do you think the Hawks are good enough to play finals footy yet, or do they need another season?
No, you don't wait, because you don't know what's around the corner. If it's there, take it. The way they're playing, and the way they have played, and the way they've regenerated their season, it's been quite frankly, it's a joy to watch. They play some seriously good football. They're probably one big player short in their back line. McStay has proven that. He's just coming back from his first game. But around the ball, they are as tough as any side going. You'd like them to mark a few more. Lewis, I think, is out for the year, so you'd like to mark a few more on the forward line.
So what have Collingwood got in the locker? 7-8-50 Hawthorn. Collingwood 1-11-17. We're back underway in this third quarter. Warper with the clearance. Hand pass to Newcomb off his left. Floats it inside attacking 50. Coming out was Hoskin Elliott. Then applied pressure with the tackle. From the congestion, though, a kick fired forward. Markov wrapped that up nicely on his chest. Leapt high across the pack and took the mark. Dodgy little kick outside of defence too, but side bottom was good enough to get around onto his left. That's an awkward kick too. Day spilt it as well. Almost got spoiled by his own teammate in Newcomb there, and then it's wrapped up between the two ruckmen, and we're back where we began, right in the middle of the MCG.
Hoskin Elliott's feeling his eye. I don't know whether it's been split or not, but
the cleanest start to the second half. Clearance for Lipinski. Tumbles it up to half forward. McStay out wide to Markov, who whacks it toward full forward, and Scrimshaw in game 100 takes the mark. Former first-round pick of the Gold Coast Suns, traded for a first-round pick to come to Hawthorn, and playing game number 100 this afternoon in his AFL career. Josh Dacos, he picks it up, bashes it back inside the forward 50, and Blake Hardwick with an absolute slips catch. That was coming at a rate of knots, spinning end over end, and he's done very well to clutch it in the right hand, sends it back up the line. Deer the target. It's bashed over and out. It will be thrown back in. Another off the text line. Marcus in Townsville reckons, forget the other stats, 1 goal 11 for a half is a disgrace. The reason I read that out is because Marcus in Townsville texted in, Marcus in Townsville reckons. He referred to himself in the third person on the text line. It's not bad, Marcus.
3 rush behinds in that.
No, he's talking about Deer. He can't get the game, can he?
Toss back into play, sock it away from the congestion by Newcomb, and then Josh Dacos did extremely well to get it out as it was caught underneath. He might have been pinged otherwise. DeGoey onto it now, kicks inside attacking 50, almost got over the head through the hands of Hardwick, and then onto Elliott, who turned tackler. Stay in there. He spills it as well. Now to Jaff, who's pushed in the back, forced a bit of an error with the kick. Collingwood trying to get players to this contest. Warple's there, he's pushed off it. Lipinski in there, ensuring it goes nowhere. We'll have a ball up 60 around from the Collingwood goal. They currently trail by 33.
Joel Peterson and Andrew Mays calling it for you on ABC Sport. Rod Jamieson, Mick Malthouse, your experts. Tim Hodges down the boundary, braving these conditions at the MCG. Jath off the stoppage, pokes it forward to Ginnivan, who's had an absolute stack of it against his former side. Jath running the southern wing, touches it on the ground, kicks up toward half forward over the head of Bruce, bashed back by Quainer. Jath coming at pace toward Crisp. Did it come off Crisp's boot then and out of bounds on the full? It did. Gee, that's unlucky from Jack Crisp, who socketed into the first couple of rows. In fact, I think that should be a Hawthorn ball, should it not?
Yeah, that's an odd one, isn't it? That's surely... Oh, they've given it back to him, haven't they?
The umpire's just conferring.
It is... Crisp's a bit confused. He's not sure whose kick it is. It is going to be Crisp's kick in the end, so a judge to have come off Jath's boot, and Jack Crisp will take it underneath the Shane Warne stand. Hawks up by 33, 3 gone, third term. Rain continues to fall.
I wonder if there was a bit of advice from upstairs there, because Matt Stevic was holding his ear as if he was talking to someone as well. From the kick, now Scrimshaw onto it, off to Newcomb, who just got his hands free to Day, who spun in the tackle, no prior opportunity. And they'll have a ball up forward of centre wing.
Blake Hardwick has done some brilliant individual efforts there too. Just Jamie Elliott flat out. It was almost like the State of Origin rugby tackle.
Meek down only as far as DeGoey to Nick Dacos. Blind hand pass, hit Frost. He was then dispossessed. Still got the hand pass out though to Warple and now to Day. Day a short kick and he hits the chest of Deer.
So the defence of Collingwood are just sort of staying off them, aren't they? Just allowing them, and they continue to go short and use them.
Went the hand pass, and then the kick coming forward isn't ideal, but it's spilled by side bottom. Onto it, Moore gives it to Watson, who's in the right forward pocket, has players in the middle, unselfishly hooks it back and finds D'Ambrosio. Conceded 20 metres, but D'Ambrosio is only on a slight angle to the left, and he has the journey.
You're spot on. By Collingwood hanging off those players, not putting pressure on them on a wet ball that you don't necessarily think you're going to take cleanly all the time. So if you keep at them, but even there, that entrance, this is the second mark we've seen, but it was so well orchestrated.
D'Ambrosio will kick from about 45. Wanders in. It's coming back and it's good. They land the first blow of the second half, the Hawks, and the celebrations continue. 8:56, plays 1:11:17. Margin continues to grow. Collingwood's last goal coming at the 4-minute mark of the opening term.
It's Massimo's only second goal for the year. The Hawks have got 5 goal scorers. Bruce with 2, McDonald with 2, Watson with 2, and Warple, he kicked 1 in that first quarter, and they just continue to go. And I was just hoping that Nick Watson, because he looked like he held the footy to have a go on the banana, and there were 2 open. So great decision, great choice.
And a nice finish from D'Ambrosio. Let's go downstairs. Tim Hodges on the boundary.
Joel, the bad news continues for the Magpies. Will Hoskin-Elliott finally got to the bench. The doctor took a look at that eye that got a knock before. He didn't like what he saw, and he's taken him straight down to the room. So Hoskin-Elliott in the rooms for the Magpies, having that eye assessed. So
Jamie Elliott took a knock earlier. Kruger's been subbed out of the game, and now Hoskin-Elliott downstairs as well. Crisp with the clearance from the restart. Impey is a tower across half-back as he clatters into a couple of bodies but gets upstairs to take the mark. Kicks a little awkwardly. It'll get to Sicily on the bounce, who controlled it like it was a dry day, and that's exactly how they drew it up. He darts his kick down the line straight to Quainer,
who he's aiming for there. Impey's been terrific. He's playing on a quality player in Hill. Hardwick's playing on a quality player in, generally picks up Elliott.
ABC's own, of course, Jarman Impey, but no bias in that assessment. Mickey has been great today, the lad from the Shepparton Swans in the Goulburn Valley. Newcomb tries to burrow himself in at half forward. They're still fighting for it. Lipinski's waiting for it to come out. So too Scrimshaw. Those two get tangled up and we will have a ball up. 60 metres out from the Collingwood goal. Kick to the city end here in this third term, and they trail by 39 points.
Jaff at the back of the pack. Lovely dummy to get around to go. Then a high kick towards the wing. It floats over that pack. Chol was second in line and he's able to run onto it. Hand pass off to Newcomb, who's forced to go on his left here. Kicks a floater inside 50. Will almost come to a stop as Markov's there. He wants the boundary line and pushing him towards it. And ensuring he got over was Ward. Will have a ball in 55 around from the Hawthorn goal.
Well, that's a rugby tackle. Take him to the boundary. Both players almost lifted him up and took him over. They want another stoppage. I can't blame Hawthorn for wanting stoppages. They've dominated so far. This has been interesting now to see where the Pies have actually worked. They've got some quality players around it. I'm just surprised they haven't done better.
Side bottom on his own. Oh, now he comes in. Dacos on his own.
Thrown back into play. Meek able to palm it again to Warple, who shrugs the goey tackle. He almost worked the 1-2 with Ward, who sold a bit of candy, then kicked inside, attacking 50 himself. No mark to Joel. Off to Ginnivan. Was he caught without it? Umpire said play on. McDonald to Watson, who plays for the high free kick, and the umpire correctly waved play on, and it's in amongst the scrimmage. We'll have a ball up. 25 out directly in front.
Yeah, good umpiring. Really good umpiring.
He did indicate then too that he
lifted his arm up. Yeah.
Curtis DeBoy, nice bit of work from him. Cameron wins it down. Maynard, kick out of the congestion. McDonald sits underneath it, takes the mark for Hawthorn.
Well, that's just a poor setup. That is a dreadful setup by Collingwood. This is the worst I've seen them play in setups. There's no doubt about their endeavour. They're trying hard. They're doing all that sort of stuff. But just another stoppage. It looks like they wanted everyone in the stoppage to stop it coming out, but immediately it comes out, you've got to have an outer. And Hawthorn had a beautiful setup around that and forced the error.
But the poor kick from Braden Maynard, he should well know better than that. He kicked on his right to the middle of the ground.
And McDonald can come in and try to kick. His third set shot is there. Connor McDonald's equalled his career best with 3. And it's a new game high. This lead just continues to balloon out to 45 points, the Hawks. 9-8-62. Collingwood 1-11-17. The last 8 goals in the game to Hawthorn. Collingwood still haven't kicked one since the 4-minute mark of the first. We are 9 minutes through the third. Nick Bolthouse and Rod Jamieson.
You'd normally highlight Collingwood's efficiency when they do go forward. They've been 3 times inside their 50 this quarter, have not scored. Hawthorn have gone 3 and kicked 2 goals. Again, they continue to take the game on. It's 36 disposals to 17 in this quarter. They handle, and to add to that, their efficiency is going at 72%. To Collingwood only 53.
Tossed up in the middle. It's almost another Hawthorn win again as Day comes through. What a wonderful tackle as well on Noble. Affected the kick. Now more onto it for Hawthorn. He's dispossessed. Good tackle. Pendlebury. Left half back for the Pies. Kicks towards McStay. Punched away from him. Long at ground level. Frost was a little bit more desperate. Now McStay's pushed off it. Frost went again. Couldn't collect the ball, and now it's in amongst the scrimmage. And we'll have a ball up about 10 metres inside the boundary, left half forward.
Looks like we're just on the tail end of the latest band of showers. Rain stopped for the moment. So good news for the players out there, the fans, and for our own Tim Hodges on the boundary. Jack Crisp tries to keep it alive. Will Day towing the boundary line. Gave it to Warple. Gave it inboard to Nash. His kick looking for McDonald. Spilt by Hoskin Elliott. Back out there with that dodgy eye. Ran into a couple of Hawks. And the Pies just surge it forward. Lipinski looking for Pendlebury by hand. Nick Dacos was clean through the traffic. Found Richards. Had to arch the back. Then got dragged down by Sicily. Lost it once, twice. Free kick paid by the out-of-zone umpire going to the Pie.
Well, almost instantaneous. Anyway, this is where an opportunity now exists for Collingwood to just fight one, but get one back.
And it'll be Joe Richards. He'll have to kick from just inside the 50.
I think the Hawthorn people thought the same as us. It was a bit lucky.
7 Collingwood players have kicked behind. Daniel McStay, he's kicked 2. Don't they need this one?
2 goals, 1 last week for Richards. Man from the Wangaratta Magpies. From 48 metres out, he hoists it high into the sky. Never looked like it. 1 goal, 12. Plays 9-8-62. The margin is 44 points. We are 11 and a half gone through the third term on ABC Sport.
With Joe Richards with the footy in his hand, they just showed that he's only kicked no goals, 4 behinds from set shots.
Wow.
This year.
Yeah. And he's recognised goal kicker.
Yep.
Kick from Amon to Sicily to the wing. Big fly by Chol. What about more? Beautiful front and centre. And then he gave it to Dage. Shrugged the tackle. Hand pass inside is good to Nash. Now off to Amon, who kicked it out. Lovely spearing pass to Deer. Dropped the sitter. Just got a hand in there was Quaynor, who did exceptionally well. Now Collingwood can come away. Lipinski off the outside of the boot. Tumbles it towards attacking 50. It sits up for Frost, who breaks one tackle. Then a long hand pass forward to Hardwick is good. He goes to the wing to Nash. Then further afield to Ward. Short kick is good to Moore, who can fire them inside 50.
Dylan Moore with a low kick to full forward, looking for Chol, front spot. Racing onto it is Watson! And the Wizard weaves his magic once more. 3 goals to Nick Watson. And Hawthorn out by 50.
Take a bow, Frosty. He full-chested, come out and met that ball. That was a Collingwood ball all the way. They were able to bludgeon the ball through the middle. And Frost come out, hit that ball, and then it created that player, the overlap. And Collingwood were just in between. No, they were nowhere. They were sort of sprinkling through the middle, sprinkling the back line, but no wall. They just got opened up. So,
dangerous handball, that forward one, wasn't it, too? It can be just to go pierce through and then all of a sudden out wide again and then around the outside. And that's what the Hawks have been doing all day.
Side bottom in the middle.
And they haven't been able to clearly just go to your man.
So career day for Watson, 3 goals, the best of his young career, and he's already a fan favourite, Maisie.
Yep. Been a
favourite
convert for a while.
We were onto him early as well.
Now Day onto it. Left half back here for the Hawks. Off the centre bounce, and then D'Ambrosio forced to spoil from behind. Side bottom sees it over for a boundary throw in. He was whipping the crowd into a frenzy. He came to the bench as well.
This is the first time we've seen, I think, Steele side bottom into the actual middle. Whether he can just generate a bit of free ball, he's a smart player.
All Day and Warple, 7 disposals in this third quarter.
Nash away from him to side bottom, who had one arm pin. Looked for all money, holding the ball. Umpire wave play on. DeGoey on hand pass, knocked away from Ginnivan, and now a chance for Noble. High kick towards the wing. Amon caught behind Hill. Might have got him high. Umpire said play on. Lipinski, blind hand pass forward. And Scrimshaw's able to mop up with that trusty left boot. Finds D'Ambrosio, who just keeps it in. Scoots one around the boundary line. It bounces end over end. Maynard sees it over for a throw in. 60 around from the Hawthorn goal. But they are winning every little battle at the moment as they lead by 50. 15 played third term.
Well, not only that, 31 possessions to 60. Hawthorn have doubled the possession rate. I don't know whether I've actually seen this over a consistent 2.5 quarters. That the side dominates the possession rate as much as Hawthorn have today.
Lots of Mick Malthouse with you on ABC Sport alongside Rod Jamieson, your experts. Connor Nash from the stoppage was buffeted off his kick by DeGoey. It spills out of bounds inside forward 50 for the Hawks. It'll be taken by Darcy Moore.
Well, normally at one point of the game, or if not more, the opposition get a hold of you, don't they? And the Hawks have just been all over Collingwood. I can't say that Collingwood have actually won, say, 5 or 10 minutes of this game.
It's been a comprehensive performance. Kick to the wing, toe poked forward by Pendlebury, taken by the opposite number 10 in Amon, and the Hawks can stretch the field again. Whips the kick across the centre of the ground to Ward. He bounces it out in front of Dylan Moore at right half forward. 70 from home for Hawthorn. Looks up, goes deep. Deer coming in with a rush. Chol was out the back. Neither could take it for Hawthorn. Now Moore goes to ground for the Pies. The pack forms around him. They're waiting for it to come out. It won't. It spills over the boundary line, right forward pocket for Hawthorn at the punt road end, and we will have a ball in. Margin is 50 points. No matter which way you tipped it, you probably couldn't have seen this coming. Hawks up by half a ton. 16 minutes gone, third term.
Right forward pocket, another chance for them here. Deep inside, attacking 50. Nash tried to wrestle his way out of it. McDonald to Ginnivan today. Hand pass into congestion. Josh Dacos was calm. Gave it to Long. He turned it over. Straight to Ginnivan. Here's your moment, Jack, and he misses. Couldn't quite bring it around far enough. 10-9-69 Hawthorn, 1-12-18 Collingwood, 17 played third term.
He's having a day out. That's his 25th disposal. He's been involved in the scoring on 8 occasions.
He's having a really prolific afternoon, is Jack Ginnivan, that is for sure. He hasn't been able to finish off, but he's done just about everything else. Hawks take possession as Collingwood work it to the wing. Carl Amon's kick is high inside the forward 50. Maynard bashes it forward. Dylan Moore kept it in somehow. Bruce got run over by Lipinski. The umpire says, I'll have it.
I think there was a question off the text line to you, Mick, earlier around the Hawks. I think this is probably close to their best side, isn't it? Other than Lewis, maybe Wingard. Outside of that,
well, he hasn't been in the side for a long while. So you say Lewis, and they probably lack that key forward, admittedly, and also a key back.
Free kick coming here to Dylan Moore. At that throw in, going against Scott Pendlebury. So Moore will play on, slips over as he gets to 48 metres out, and then he got tackled, caught holding the ball. That's not the way that he wanted that to go. And Chris comes dashing off half-back for the Pies.
Off to DeGoey, high kick to space. Hardwick's leading the race here. It spins inside defensive 50 and he gathers nicely. Hand pass to Sicily, works the 1-2. Hardwick still supporting. Now back to Sicily, still inside defensive 50. Right back pocket. The kick is looking for McDonald and he finds him, or it's Newcomb rather. Strong mark. in the conditions as it starts to come down again. Hand pass to the running Weddle. Weddle on halfway. A long kick. Chol's got the sit. Good contest. Moore did well standing in front, knowing the contact was coming from behind. Hand pass to Howe. Howe kick off his left. Weddle making it look dry.
Is it ever? How good are his hands and his running ability?
Stretched and just took it in his fingertips, and it's been raining for an hour and a half.
I said about 4 or 5 weeks ago, Hawthorn may not make it, but they'll make sure that some sides don't. That dialogue's now changed completely.
Jath kicks inside the forward 50. Chol with a hand to it. Spills some more hard along the boundary line. Hooks his kick back inboard. It bounced horribly for side bottom. Sat up beautifully to D'Ambrosio. The fade, the snap, and another one for Hawthorn. It's been raining for most of the day here at the MCG, and it is raining goals for Hawthorn. 11-9-75 to Collingwood, 1-12-18. Margin out to 57 before the thoughts of Jamo and Mick. Let's get downstairs to Tim Hodges.
The Hawks have just made their sub. Finn McGuinness is on the ground, and Kel Shadir, I think, has just come off and has just been handed the substitution T-shirt, so he is out of the game. And McGuinness finally gets his chance in this game. We thought he might have started early and had the job on Nick Dacos, but he's in the game now late in the third quarter.
Yeah, young Deere has struggled with the conditions. I said before he hasn't done a lot, but what he has done is what do you have there? So he's had four possessions, 4 hand passes, but each one of them have been good. So and something's been created because of it.
Chol palms it down. Crisp is there to row vote. Gets the kick away to Sullivan. 2 kicks from goal. Goes out wide by hand to Nick Dacos. Loops it over the top to De Goey, who gets to 50. Does he have the journey all the way to the goal line? Yes. De Goey kicks Collingwood's second goal. Almost 2.5 quarters between majors for the Pies. 2 goals, 12-24. Hawthorn 11-9-75. That goal the first since the 4-minute mark of the opening term.
We're just having a look at this year's defeats, but I would have thought if it was heading this way, this would almost be the biggest defeat that Craig McRae has had, albeit there's still 7 minutes to go and a quarter, and you know that they're not probably playing as well as they are, so they could get right back in amongst it. But they're going to make it hard for themselves if they trip up today, Collingwood. They Richmond, Carlton, Sydney away, and then Brisbane. So their run home is incredibly tough.
It's 5 to go after this.
Yeah.
So they've got Richmond and...
Yep, well, they've got Richmond, Carlton, Sydney, Brisbane, and then Melbourne to finish off in their last round.
So yeah. A bit of a murderer's row for the Hawks as far as that's concerned. By my calculations, the biggest defeat for Craig McRae has been 48 points in his coaching tenure so far for the Pies. So,
and if it does go Hawthorn's way, it's probably not the result that would be of concerning for me. It's the way that they have not defended and the goals that they've let through from stoppages where they're normally pretty good at it.
51 points the margin at the moment. 22 minutes gone in this third term. Thoughts of Rod Jamieson and Mick Malthouse on ABC Sport, your experts. Joel Peterson, Andrew Mays calling it for you. Tim Hodges is down on the boundary line. 22 minutes gone in this third quarter. And as Maisie told you, the first goal in well and truly over 2 quarters of footy for the Pies in that last play. Free kick. Day hacks it out of the middle for the Hawks. It's going to come back to big Lloyd Meek, the man from Minnanira in Western Victoria.
And he's been sweating on this free kick for a while now. He believes he's been hard done by a couple of times.
Population of 62 out in Minnanira. Footy club about the only thing in town. Lloyd Meek drops it inside the forward 50. Socket on by Connor McDonald, who's got 3 to his name already. It trickles into the left forward pocket. And it goes out of play for a throw-in. Hawks deep into attack.
Where's Minnanira?
So it's out, it's about 100 kilometres past Ballarat, sort of south of Ararat. So only a tiny place. It's a locality more than a town, but the footy league is named after it. So the league is the Minnanira and District Football Netball League, and Lloyd Meek comes from the Streatham Minnanira Westmere Rovers.
Toss back into play. Side bottom with the clearance, kicks across the face of goal, outside defensive 50. Jath first there, he had plenty of time to pick it up. Hand pass over the top to Nash. Gets around one tackle. His hand pass no good. It's off to Nick Dacos, who slaps it to the advantage of Hoskin Elliott around the corner. That's okay, although it got through the fingers of McInnes, and now it's a chance for Sicily. Kicks high into the pocket. Hoskin Elliott went the punch at ground level. Ginnivan's there. Did the tackle slip high? Does it matter? From the top of the square, your moment, Guinea. He blows a kiss to the crowd. What a celebration it's been. And he has enjoyed one of his best games, not only in Hawks colours, but of his entire career. 12-9-81 Hawthorn, 2-12-24 the Pies, 24 played, third term.
Never been a huge Ginnivan fan. I don't mind at times what he can do, but certainly today he's put his head down and he's got to work, and he's been really serving.
There's a few things that are myths about him. He's a rat bag, yeah, but that might be correct, but one of the things on the ground, he's so team orientated. He would. I watched him when he was playing for Collingwood. He would actually go to a player and move him away from the ball and take him away so that Jamie Elliott becomes the focal point. He's very team orientated. Yeah, he annoys the hell out of people. I know what I would playing in the back pocket. I would have been nice and handy.
From the restart to go, he waltzes out of the middle for the Pies. Kicks inside forward 50. Howe's been stationed up there now. McInnes takes it. He's 35 out from goal to Dacos, off a step around the body from Nick Dacos, out the side of the boot, out of bounds on the full. A couple of teammates glance back at him and maybe suggest that wasn't the best option. 18 disposals for Nick Dacos this afternoon, and Frost to take it on the last line for the Hawks. Later tonight, of course, the Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide and Richmond for our South Australian audience. Most of you going to Geelong and the Western Bulldogs. We'll preview that game with Matt Clinch at three-quarter time of this.
Long kick is good today, who bursts onto it. Hand pass out wider still to Chol. He was looking for Watson. He lost the boot. Still kicked with his sock and then finds McInnes, who can go long inside attacking 50. It's one-on-one. It's Ginnivan v. Quaynor, and they both took each other to ground, which allowed Maynard in with a bit of time and space. He kicks outside of defensive 50. Impey's there, almost took the mark. Lightning hand pass by Bruce. Over the top to D'Ambrosio, who was looking for Ward. Great ball from the side by Josh Dacos. And then Meek picks it up. He's tackled to ground by DeGoey, and we'll have a ball up left half forward for the Hawks.
Savio Chol took a good 30 seconds there, just sitting on the ground putting his shoe on.
If I was the coach, just get up, will you?
In front of the bench as well. It's dangerous territory where he was doing that, Joel. Here's D'Ambrosio off the stoppage. 2 goals to his name today. Drops it inside the forward 50. Oh, Newcomb almost taking a sprawling mark. Couldn't do so. Ward picks it up inside the forward 50 for the Hawks. He's dragged down in a strong tackle. It is indeed Mick Malthouse holding the ball.
Good decision.
Good tackle.
Yeah, ripping tackle.
Free kick to go to Reef McInnes inside defensive 50 for the Pies, who kicked only their second goal here in this term. Hawthorn have added another 4. Margin is 57 the way of the Hawks.
Long kick out of defence. Howe couldn't take the mark. Bashed it forward though, only as far as Sicily, who turns inside out, then onto his left. Chol heard the voice behind. It was Bruce, but Moore smacks it away from him and over for a boundary throw-in.
We talked about Howe going forward, hasn't it? Surely.
Yep. Yes. We talked about Hawthorn's percentage at three-quarter time, at half-time, Mick. It's now up to 99.5.
Right, OK. So let's look. I don't know whether it's relevant, is it? Have they got the draw? Who's got the? No.
Yes,
it is. It is relevant. It is relevant. But.
Well, the next 2 games, they play Adelaide and GWS away, and then Carlton, Richmond, and then the Kangaroos to finish off.
Back into the middle as side bottom finds Nick Dacos to brother Josh by hand off his left. It's a lovely kick to Richards. Has Long in space inside forward 50. Didn't go to him. There was no one on the mark, so he pinched 15 metres, then kicked a 9-9 to the top of the square. McStay at the back couldn't take the mark. Falls into the lap of side bottom, who snaps and kicks the goal. Scrimshaw diving, got a fist to it, but it already crossed the line. And Collingwood get their third of the afternoon. 3-12-30 the Pies, 12-9-81 the Hawks. 28 played third quarter.
It was unfortunate again. The Hawks did all the work. They defended really well. They brought it to ground, but the punch was just in the wrong spot, wasn't it, too? And the bounce sat up for still side bottom.
He might be in his 30s still, but he's such a clever player. Reads the play very well. And his finishing power. 2 years ago, he was giving the ball up, and I thought Steele, it might be getting close. Last year, he was fantastic. this year. I'm surprised now when they've thrown him out on the wing. He was okay in the middle. In fact, he was very good in the middle. But anyway, he's kicked the goal, and there's a lot of life left in Steele Cyberton if Collingwood are prepared to take it.
So versatile, like he's played at half-back this year as well through parts, and obviously wonderful on the wing.
Game 326 for the man from Kingupna. I won't give you the oral history on that football club, Jamo, so don't worry.
It's a lot of football.
Ambrosio and DeGoey will get a free kick in the centre of the ground. There's 300 of those games with Scott Pendlebury. DeGoey kicks inside forward, 50. How?
That move surprised me that it didn't happen in the second or third quarter when Hawthorn were right on top. They weren't losing the ball in the air. It wasn't as if Hawthorn were dominating the air. In fact, we know they've only taken 2 or 3 marks. One player who can take a good mark, and this is him. And he's a forward, so he knows how to kick a goal as well. So probably a little bit late, but not out of it.
You've got to run it to jump at it.
Yeah, too right.
Jeremy Howe, we know what an aerial specialist he is. The kick is certainly not. It skews off the instep and floats its way all across the face, and he's slapped through. It'll be thrown back in. Left forward pocket, Pies into attack. City end of the MCG. Margin 51 points the way of Hawthorn. 12-9, plays 3-12. Saturday twilight footy on ABC Sport.
Ball thrown back into play next to the behind post. He won it down. And then Amon could have gotten rid of it. He didn't. Wet the dummy and then was caught holding the ball. So this will be a free kick directly in front of goal. And marching back with it is Bobby Hill.
Yeah, sometimes you ask the question, why under pressure where there's 20 players around you, you think you can walk through? In today's football, you just got to make sure the setup outside 50 is right, which was, and barrel it, if you like, with wet conditions.
One of very few stoppages that actually Collingwood have won.
One behind this afternoon for Bobby Hill. Normally pretty good in front of goal. From the set shot, he kicks and delivers. So 3 out of the last 4 goals here for the Pies. Back to 45 points the margin. 30 played, third term.
Back-to-back for the first time today, Maisie.
And you almost don't want to say it, but they do have a genuine belief, Collingwood. They haven't played that well, but they know they can finish strong and get the games close enough to make it dangerously either way.
Yeah, it's a long way back, but you don't ride any side off after last night.
No.
Let me tell you.
Yeah. Was it 42 points, I think, at one point?
Well, it was 30, certainly 36, but to think aside, Essendon came out of the blocks at 3, then I think it was 9 of the next 11, and then it was 7 of the next 8, then it was the next 3 of the next 4, and it was chopping and changing all the way through. So anything is possible, although it is wet. That's
So a minute and a half to go here in this third term. The ball up turns into another stoppage. Just on that game last night too. So the foot injury for Jordan Butts, a Liz Frank injury to his left foot. No serious damage, according to Adelaide, to Nick Murray's knee. And no case to answer for Ben Keys at the MRO as well for the tackle on Jai Caldwell.
No case. Well, that's good.
So DeGoey spirals the kick inside the forward 50. Trying to mark his aim on inside the back half for Hawthorn. Spills around at the stoppage. Pendlebury trying to force it loose. Dylan Moore lays a good tackle. And we will have a ball up inside forward 50 for the Pies. They'd love to sneak another one. 6 goals, 3 from turnovers to just 8 behinds the way of the Hawks. Slapped out toward DeGoey at the stoppage. Left foot kick to full forward. Wilday gets back in the hole.
This is what I admire, Collingwood. The intensity's still there.
Yeah.
They're not saying, oh, poor us. The intensity is fanatic. That's where Hawthorn can grow from this.
Day across the face of goal to Scrimshaw. He stops on his kick and then kicks as far as he can. Out the back, Watson onto it. Kicks in front of Bruce, sets him a little bit of a target. Maynard's there for company. Bruce hooks it back cleverly. McInnes had it spilt from him. Maynard straight into Lipinski's chest, and he slaps it round the boundary. Nick Dacos is taken over that time by Watson in a strong tackle. We'll have a ball in right in front of the interchange benches.
Time in possession the last 10 minutes, 31 to 17%, so in favour of Collingwood.
Yeah.
So again, they're putting their head to their shoulder to the wheel.
Ball to be thrown back in directly beneath us in the ABC Sport commentary box. Free kick in the ruck contest, going the way of Cameron. Lloyd Meek throws his head back again.
Well, that's number 3, I think, already.
Cameron offloads to Noble. Noble's driving kick to half forward. McStay makes the contest. Frost claimed the mark, not paid. Short kick to Warple. Bashes it down the line. A bouncing ball toward Meek. Body lining it was Cameron. Spilt back to Day for the Hawks. His handball to Meek. And now to Moore. Now to Sicily. They'll run out of time though, Hawthorn. But the scoreboard is very much on their side at three-quarter time. Collingwood finally able to crack the major opening on the scoreboard front. They kicked 3 goals and 3 of the last 4 in that term. But the Hawks able to add 5 of their own. They had the lead grow to 57 points on a couple of occasions. And Hawthorn will turn for home, leading by 45 points. 12-9-81 to Collingwood 4-12-36. The Hawks came into the game the lower placed of the two teams, 13th and 12th. And they look like leaving with their finals hopes very much intact. A career-high 3 goals, an equal career-high 3 goals to Connor McDonald. A career-high 3 goals to Nick Watson. 2 to Luke Bruce in his milestone game. 2 to Massimo D'Ambrosio. 1 to James Warple. 1 to Jack Ginnivan against his former team. And wasn't that celebrated richly by the Hawthorn fans. For the Pies, all singles. Bobby Hill, Jordan De Goey and Steele Sidebottom in that term. And Reef McInnes kicked their first of the game. The 4-minute mark of the opening term, it took them until the 20-minute mark of the third to get their next Collingwood. So despite the rain, there's been a very lean day on the scoreboard front for the Pies. They trail by 45 points at three-quarter time, 4-12-36 to 12-9-81. Final term is just around the corner on ABC Radio Sport Digital. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Looking for an easy way to find out what's happening in the world of sport? Stay up to date with the week's best sports stories, highlights and analysis with the ABC Sport newsletter.
Oh, that is amazing!
It's sports content to make you think or allow you not to. Delivered to your inbox every Saturday.
Game, set, bingo!
To sign up and get the latest sports news each week, head to abc.net.au/connect, scroll down and select ABC Sport. This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2024 AFL season. Every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Frost, who breaks one tackle, then a long hand pass forward to Hardwick is good. He goes to the wing to Nash, then further afield to Ward. Short kick is good to Moore, who can fire them inside 50.
Dylan Moore with a low kick to full forward, looking for Chol, front spot. Racing onto it is Watson! Jaff kicks inside the forward 50. Chol with a hand to it. Spills some more hard along the boundary line. Hooks his kick back inboard. Oh, bounced horribly for Sidebottom. Sat up beautifully to D'Ambrosio. The fade, the snap, and another one for Hawthorn.
High into the pocket. Oscar Elliott went the punch at ground level. Ginnivan's there. Didn't tackle slip high. Does it matter? From the top of the square, your moment, Guinea. He blows a kiss to the crowd. Long in space inside forward 50, didn't go to him. There was no one on the mark, so he pinched 15 metres, then kicked him 9-9 to the top of the square. McStay at the back couldn't take the mark. Falls into the lap of Sidebottom, who snaps and kicks the goal.
The 2024 AFL Premiership season.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Quarter to go here at the MCG. It's all Hawthorn, 12-9-81 to Collingwood, 4-12-36. The Hawks looking for their 10th win of the campaign. And Collingwood facing an uphill battle to make September after their premiership success of last year. 2 games on the way tonight, of course. Port Adelaide and Richmond at the Adelaide Oval for our South Australian audience. You'll be headed there with Aaron Bryants, Neil Cross, Josh Franku, Kirsty Lamb, the Port Adelaide recruit in the AFLW, and Josh Money on the boundary. For the rest of our audience, another absolute clinker down at the Cattery. It's been raining cats and dogs all day. Is that the case down there in Geelong, Matt Clinch?
Yeah, I think we're in for a wet night, Joel, and the fight for a top 8 position on the line tonight with Geelong, who have climbed their way back up to the top 4 for the first time since round 2. round 12, I should say, after a great win over the reigning premiers last week. So the Cats can now put a firm grip on a double chance with a victory tonight. Well, the Western Bulldogs, they remain one of the most unpredictable sides in the competition, but they showed they can still sue some damage beating the Blues last week. We think there's a late change as well for Geelong. So we might see Ted Closey make his debut, the 19-year-old Category B rookie, who is the brother of the Gold Coast Suns, Sam. So we're just running through the VFL players. Tom Atkins might be the out for the Cats. And Jack McRae will be the sub for the Western Bulldogs tonight. The other one for you, Joel, is we had a draw in the VFL. So round 17, Footscray and Geelong. They were locked at 8-9-57 apiece. And a curtain raiser is somewhat unusual. The turf looks a little worse for it as well. But we had some high numbers running around as well. We had an 82, a 79, a 69. So great for the traditional footy fans who'd love to see that. The full call coming up with Lauren Borden. Brendan McCartney, the former Bulldogs coach, will join us alongside Nathan Burke and Jess Webster on the boundary. It's the Cats and the Western Bulldogs following you from the Cattery.
Good on you, Clinchy. Thank you. And, of course, the Bulldogs in the VFLW Grand Final tomorrow as well against North Melbourne at North Port Oval. Craig McRae held that Collingwood team for a long time down there. They're finally dispersing. They trail by 45 points. Rod Jamieson and Mick Malthouse as we head into this last term. What can these two sides take out of it?
Well, Jim, what can they take out of it? Hawthorn need to maintain the pressure. They've dominated the footy. 217 to 325. That's 100 more possessions. 100 more possessions. 800, 900 more metres. The only difference is that Collingwood did come back late in that quarter. Yeah. High intensity. And it's very hard to hold it all the time. But this is with a test, and this is a young side, Hawthorn, whether they can go in and finish the game off as in, even if they just draw this quarter, they've won it.
So 45 points as we go into it. Tossed up in the middle in these greasy conditions. Pendlebury's involved for Collingwood. Nick Dacos loops the handball out wide to the run and overlap of Will Hoskin-Elliott. Kicks to half forward through the hands of Reef McInnes. Impey goes back in defence for Hawthorn. Or handball to Scrimshaw. Made him work. Spun out of the traffic. Got the handball away to Impey, who navigates his way through the bodies well. Kicked it straight to Hoskin-Elliott, though. Handed to Goey from 52 metres out. He's already got one. Sends it to full forward McStay. Strong mark. He's had a couple of opportunities, Dan McStay. This very much the most gilt-edged of them all. And he wheels around and kicks the goal. Great to see him back out there. And every Collingwood player on the ground gets to him. Tore his ACL at the end of November after missing the grand final with a PCL injury. And less than 8 months later, he's back out here on the big stage and kicking a goal in the black and white. Margin 39 points. Collingwood get the first in a minute.
Yeah, and let me say right now, I reckon that there's been one there's probably heaps of instructions, that there's one clear one automatically that I've seen. Play on, and just move that ball. See if you can catch the Hawthorn defence, because they are very aggressive. They're coming up the ground a fair bit. Just move that football and see if you can turn Hawthorn into a little bit of a worrying side, more so than what they've been able to do.
Well, they've played brave football, Hawthorn, and they have overused it at times, and they're going at a disposal efficiency that's almost dry day football, so they need to be brave and continue to take it on.
Well, this is where Collingwood get sides, though, because they start to panic, they start to read the papers and say, well, Collingwood are the best finishing side in the competition.
Tossed up in the middle, ball now onto the wing. Grabbing it was Elliott, but turned it over by hand. Nash kicks inside, attacking 50. McInnes is there over the top to ensure that that's not coming out. We'll have a stoppage almost on the paint. 2 minutes played, fourth term.
Forge a long way up the ground too. That's they like to get sides drawn in, so they get him over the back.
Guinness picks it up, and he is tackled strongly by Crisp. Again, going nowhere. This time the stoppage a little bit more central, 50 from Hawthorn's goal.
Slap down towards Sullivan. A sub with Nathan Kruger going off in that second term. Dylan Moore extracts it for the Hawks. Day spins his way out of trouble. Beautiful move to Nash around the body. Low kick inside forward 50. McDonald's got 3. McDonald's got 4. And again he celebrates in style. A career afternoon for Connor McDonald. He's certainly not alone in that front for Hawthorn. 45-point margin restored. 13-9-87. to 5-12-42, and it was a very tidy gather and snap from the youngster.
Yeah, and just really, that's the Hawthorn we've seen today. Hard at it, not being intimidated by what the theory is or what the myth is, and kept at it and finished the game, finished the goal off.
Both teams have got numbers around, wasn't it? It was 3 or 4 throw-ups there. It was congested. Connor Nash, I think, was the player that got it out, and it was a really smart kick. I thought he was going to bomb away, and he caught McDonald at the corner of his eye, and he was clean to finish off.
From the ball up. Nice read by Newcombe. His kick lacked a little bit of penetration, though. Got it to McDonald, who then had it knocked away from him. DeGoey and Nash wrestle for it. Nash wins out, although his hand pass missed the target. Allowed DeGoey to almost become the tackler on MP, who's socking it away from himself. Cleanest at ground level was Hill. Left foot kick, inside attacking 50. At ground level, Sullivan pushed off it by Sicily. Out to Newcombe, and then further still to D'Ambrosio. Tries to get back onto his left, was forced to hand pass as there was no way out. Hoskin Elliott, he's slung in a strong tackle, 360. Not a lot of chance to get rid of it, but he did have one arm pinned, and that seems to be the cue. So Newcombe receives the free kick.
Well, you don't escape Newcombe's tackles. It is brutal. Fantastic tackle that.
He would have played on a few sodden days as a junior at Poowong. John Newcombe. McGuinness takes it off the pack for the Hawks. Kick was smothered. Spilt to Noble. Scrambling defensively. Pendlebury off the ground. Spills to Day. Top of the 50 for the Hawks. Back to Newcombe. Back to Hardwick. Eases the kick out wide, and they can build it up again. Here's Weddle. Weddle hands it off. Scrimshaw cruising past in game 100. Out wide to Ward. 5 in from the boundary line. 40 from home. Josh Ward misses. Minus score. Margin 46 points. 5 gone. Final term on ABC Sport.
Well, I think the Hawks have held their structure around the football too. In the congested area, I'll find Collingwood 2 or 3 players go at it, and the Hawks really allow their teammate to go at it but stay wide, so the uncontested football is there.
Long kick out. It worked for the Pies too, as Elliott was able to keep it in. He has McStay at left half. Ford finds him by boot. Not a lot. Ford inside attacking 50. There's one option. He hits him lace out. McInnes takes the mark. Lovely kick by McStay. He'd have to kick this 55. He goes short instead and finds Sidebottom, who marks 45 from goal, and he's got the journey.
Those markers by the lawn being mowed is I think around about 15 odd metres. That's a 10-metre kick.
So Sidebottom, in he comes, starts his approach from inside the centre square. He'll kick from about 48, lays into it. He's got every piece of it, and it's a goal. Sidebottom with his second of the afternoon. It's Collingwood's 6th. 13-10-88 the Hawks, 6-12-48 the Pies. 6 played, final term. Rod Jamieson and Mick Malthouse, your experts.
Yeah, he's been okay. Yeah, Steelo. He's just I shouldn't call him a nickname, but Steele Sidebottom has done very well as a winger. He's always good for a 45, 50-metre kick, as we saw in the grand final last year. He kicked a 53, 54-metre goal to seal the win.
It's probably only won a few times when they've actually gone from one end, which was the kick out from behind to the other end.
They've played on though.
Yeah.
They've really moved the ball. This is the first time they've actually moved the ball quickly. Now, Timmy's probably going to tell us down there it's dried out a little bit, and MCG does dry out very quickly.
So back in the middle, Newcombe runs away with it for the Hawks. He floats the handball over the top to Nash, who fends off Nick Dacos, drops it inside the 50, looking for Chol. Outmarked by Darcy Moore decisively, and he immediately wants to wheel and go and takes the aggressive option straight up highway A1, bashed away from Meek into dispute. Scrimshaw's grabbed by a couple. In fact, it's McGuinness who got caught among the mess.
That's that play on. I'll just keep doing it, Collingwood.
Yep, and through the middle of the ground.
Yep.
Tossed up, Elliott. Geez, there was a rope boot in there from Newcombe. Did well not to collect anyone. Then Impey, he might have been taken high as Chris, or was it Maynard coming through, was trying to attack the footy.
What's the Hawthorn free kick?
Yeah, high on Impey.
So Impey receives the free kick on halfway inside the centre square. Well running past. Wanted the hand pass.
This is a good test. This is more important now for Hawthorn to see if they can handle the next 20 minutes.
Impey long and high, inside attacking 50. Cameron was up, couldn't complete the mark. McDonald was down, got a snap away, but it was smothered. Back into the congestion. Sullivan looking for a way out. He was dragged down. Umpire said play on. Newcomb hurt voice. It was Bruce on the outside. He was beaten to it by Quainer, who was just about to be away and then lost his footing, lost the footy, and it's out of play in the right forward pocket for the Hawks.
A couple of goals for Luke Bruce, of course, going past Matthew Boyd as the all-time games record holder off the rookie list. 293rd game, looking to play another year at least, and as Jamo said earlier, he looks like he's in pretty fine form as well at the stoppage. Meek to Moore to Chol, and that was really easy for the Hawks. Another goal from a boundary throw-in. They've been so organised inside forward 50 from those stoppages. And conversely, Collingwood have looked all at sea. Margin 46 points to Hawthorn, 14-10-94 to the Pies, 6-12, 48, 9 minutes gone, final turn.
Well, just to reinforce that too, Joel, it's from the ball up and throw-in, the Hawks have kicked 7 goals 6. To Collingwood, only 2 goal 2.
13 shots on goal.
Yeah.
And to go 50% over 7 goals 6. Because they're awkward, because you've generally got a lot of traffic around you and there's snapshots. So, they've been really cleaned up there.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been a domination by the ruck. It's just, and a few of them have come from him, Meek, and there's no question. But it's more the setup, as you've called it.
Josh Dacos this time with the clearance. Long floating hand pass to the Goey. Tapped it to the advantage of Lipinski. Flying shot at goal. Missed everything. A little off balance as he tried to bend it around the corner and out of bounds next to the left behind post.
It's right under the supporters too. Looks like the rain's coming down once again. Yep. Haven't seen the number yet, but see, they're persevering.
Well, the Hawks are waiting to the end. Collingwood generally
wait to the end. Anywhere.
Collingwood generally wait just to see how it goes.
Ball spinning back in. Josh Dacos heard a voice. It was Nick. He got to him and it all opened up for Nick Dacos, who scrubbers the ball through. Great goal. Not a lot of space, and he kicks his first for the afternoon.
Well, just brilliant. Really, we've seen some great goals from stoppages, but I reckon the Hawks will be going, Dacos has got it. It's what's he going to do with it? His body's, he's gone left, he's gone right, and then he's just poked it through underneath players.
I reckon Josh almost handballed it over his head, though, didn't he?
Yeah, got the call. Would have got the call. Great play by Cameron for a start off that hit. There's that hand pass. So there's 4 players. You got through 4 players there, Dacos.
It's pretty special.
They do play a lot like their dad, don't they? Like low centre of gravity, low to the ground, swing their hips.
Absolutely.
Keep their feet.
15th goal of the season for Nick Dacos. He might get the tag from McGuinness, who started as the sub. Didn't pan out that way, and the Hawks haven't needed it. Meek whacks it inside the forward 50 from the restart. Sliding ball out wide as Maynard rushed that out. Umpire says yes. Insufficient intent to keep it in. So Dylan Moore chips it back in field for Massimo D'Ambrosio. The boy from Point Cook, the former Bomber, spins it in his hands, 70 from home. Loads up with a high left foot kick into the pocket. Meek, 2 hands to it, can't mark. Crisp's kick bounced off a Hawthorn player's back. Warple slides in.
Well done.
Day kept it in front of himself. Patterell to Weddle. Weddle back to Eamon. They've given up about 80 metres here, the Hawks, if not more. All the way back to Frost behind halfway, who spikes it inside the forward 50. Meek couldn't mark. And the big fella's given away another free kick, Jamo.
Or it's number 4 for him just alone.
Oh, at least number 4, isn't it?
And probably 2 in the middle of the ground.
Cameron goes straight up the middle of the ground with the free kick, and Weddle with those beautiful hands again is able to nudge McInnes underneath the ball and take it. Again, making it look dry.
Jeez.
McDonald over the back.
Serious player.
Just him.
From halfway, long kick inside 50. Chol sets himself. Ends up with the handball receive. One dummy, then the fend. Gets to 20 out, snaps around the corner and kicks a ripper. His second. Then Hawthorn reach the ton. 15-10-100. Collingwood 7-12-54. 13 played, final turn.
That's what he actually should do a lot more of, isn't he? He's a monster player in terms of size of his body. Wins the football. We've seen when he wants to with speed to get to the contest. He's fainted, he's gone one way, and then he's just palmed off and got around to create a whole heap of space for himself and an easy goal.
And he's got the left foot natural, so you've just got a little bit of an advantage straight away that, I don't say players don't know which way they're going to go, but his body, he's moved to the right and he's cut back on the left and opens it right up for himself.
It just changes the game. Even though you know he's a left, they all run to the other side.
Exactly. Well, he did move to the right, so...
27 on the season now for Mabio Chol. So he's having a good year up front for the Hawks. To go, he tumbles it inside forward 50 from the ball up. Sicily again stands in the road for the Hawks. Offloads to Scrimshaw, to D'Ambrosio. He can float a kick over the top and find Day. He's got Dylan Moore working to the southern side wing. Hawks by 46. 14 gone here in this final term on ABC Sport. Gee, that was an interesting decision from McGuinness to play on. It's worked out for the Hawks. Eamon now forward of the wing, still on that southern side. Left foot kick inside the 50. Chol's in the area, so too is Bruce. It landed in the lap of Bruce. I fancy Chol's going to get a free kick for being shepherded out of the marking contest. He is. And so Mabio Chol can go back and try and kick his third of the term.
Yeah, but certainly multiple goal scorers. He's had 2 in this quarter already. You touched on Connor McDonald's kicked 1 in every quarter. Nick Watson had a little purple patch in the second quarter, and D'Ambrosio, he kicked 2 in the third. So rotating it through, who's making a difference up forward for the Hawks.
22-9 from set shots for Mabio Chol for his third of the term. Lets himself down with that one. He knew it straight away. Margin is 47 points. 15-11, 101 to 7-12, 54 halfway through this final term. If you're in South Australia, you're headed to Port Adelaide and Richmond next at the Adelaide Oval shortly after the final siren here. For the rest of our audience, Geelong and the Western Bulldogs tonight from Kardinia Park.
Straight up the middle, Darcy Moore might have gone forward there as well. Snap inside attacking 50. Richards takes the mark on his chest. 45 from goal. Plenty of pies streaming inside attacking 50. Sidebottom's on his own in the right forward pocket. Has Richards got the journey from here? Maybe.
I'm not sure. You pop it in the air, I reckon.
Yeah, that's exactly what he does. Straight to the top of the square. Howe never got a run at it, and Weddle just slaps it away from everyone out of bounds next to the right behind post.
So no, like out of respect, Joe Richards is only in his under 10 games. He's got still side bottom on his own on one side. He's got Scott Pendlebury on the other.
Yeah,
the experience, I think I'd probably want to kick to one of them.
Ball to be tossed back in right forward pocket. Jamison, Mick Malthouse, your experts. John Peterson, Andrew Mays with you. Tim Hodges on the boundary off the stoppage. Bobby Hill roved it beautifully. He came cruising past, hit it at pace and finished with class. 2 goals for Hill. And the margin back to 41. And all of a sudden, it's been a little bit of a shootout here in this final term. The Hawks have 4. The Pies have 4 as well. 15-11, 101 Hawthorn, 8-12, 60 Collingwood, 16.5 gone in the last.
Yeah, and stoppage work again. The Hawks, flat-footed, Hill on the move. Both sides have been really done over badly in the stoppage work. So you're either very good or you're very poor, and that's all we've seen tonight. There's been no consistency of bottling it up, blocking, making sure the channels are taken. Hill just walked through that one, as we saw at Chol virtually do the other, or was it Chol or whoever got the other goal for the Hawthorn, but it's pretty easy.
Chol having a run in the ruck, he just grabs it out of there, gave it to Warple, who already had 2 Pies
and
tackling him.
Amazing too.
Yeah.
Trying to find something. Well, the Hawks have been pretty consistent with their goal scoring, hasn't it too? You'd sort of suspect that Collingwood would come out this quarter and have a red hot go.
Moore knocks it down. Amon leaves it for Warple. Now to D'Ambrosio. He just turns it over. Slap forward by Elliott. Inside attacking 50, but Sicily's there to sweep up. Hand pass out wide to Wimpy, who gets around 1 tackle. Bought himself a bit of time and space and finds D'Ambrosio at left half back, and he's off for Amon, it is rather, with a couple of bounces around the wing.
The first one was rather ginger. The second one a little bit more assured. Amon laces a kick up the line through the hands of Moore. Gets out the back to Chol, who kicks it straight to Sullivan, who's looking for Ward with the infield kick, and Lockie Sullivan chopped it off. Stands inside defensive 50 for the Pies. Of course, activated as the sub in the second quarter with the concussion to Nathan Kruger, as Hodgie told us about earlier, so he'll miss next week against Richmond. Will the big man for the Pies. Clearing the way for Mason Cox, who's been watching a bit of the action here on the sideline today. Here's Sicily, who loads up the tube and kicks an almighty barrel inside the forward 50. Quainer with two clenched fists, bashes it back the other way. Chance for Sullivan and for Noble. Dispossessed by Ginnivan. Centre half forward for Hawthorn. Now Dylan Moore flares the kick out wide and finds Ward 65 from home.
Ward has Jaff outside of him, ignores him. Instead loads up. He'll go to the top of the square. High ball. Chol's got 3 to beat. And the numbers went out, although they didn't smack it across the behind line. So Maynard has to mop things up in the back pocket. And is he taken afterwards? No, says the umpire. And it's a mark to Ward. Off to Amon, who was running around the back. He's got the journey, but not the accuracy. One behind. 19 minutes played in the final term. 15-12, 102 the Hawks. 8-12, 60 the Pies.
When Al Clarkson was at Hawthorn, he brought in all the left footers. The Hawks have sort of continued on with that, haven't they? They've got a number of left footers today.
It's been working for them.
And it's interesting off the back line, those players can actually, like Sicily's a 60-metre torp if he wants to, but the others are 50 plus metres. Port Adelaide have actually interesting with their half back line. They look like they've got depth in their half back line to see if they can clear that football. Very evident in the first part of the year. Very evident in this latter part of the year for the Hawthorn.
Port coming up next against Richmond for our South Australian audience. You'll get a call of that on the ABC Listen app as well. For everyone else, it's Geelong and the Western Bulldogs down at Cardinia Park. Reece McInnes off the stoppage as Moore hacked it forward. McInnes soccers it up toward half forward. Stayed with the play as well. He ends up on the end of the handball inside forward 50. Ran into Amon, dispossessed. Spills out to Sicily. Popinski's in his back. Umpire says, I will have it right on the blue paint of the 50 at the punt road end. The end to which Collingwood kick to here in this final turn. They trail by 7 straight kicks into time on here in the last. There's a free kick at the stoppage.
I think it's Darcy Moore in the ruck, isn't it? Yeah, Darcy, the last time he rucked would have been under 14.
Of course, no Kruger, so they're short in the big man department.
Oh, it's just that he's throwing them around. I admire McRae for doing what he's done. There's nothing evident of a recovery at this stage, but throwing their players around, Darcy Moore in the ruck, you get forward.
Sullivan to Josh Dacos in the middle. He turns it over by hand. Ginnivan, a hand pass to Warple. They're out here, the Hawks. Nice tap on to McInnes by Chol. Hand pass over the top, and to celebrate his milestone game, in comes Bruce, and he kicks his 3rd of the afternoon. 16 goals on the board for the Hawks. 16-12, 108 to the Pies, 8-12, 60. Your experts, Mick Malthouse and Rod Jamieson.
I think there's none more evident than that's how Collingwood have played. They get numbers around the footy. Hawthorn go wide. It goes over the top, creates the loose. Collingwood try and come at you, but it was 3-on-1. How couldn't do a thing about that. That's just how Hawthorn have played pretty much majority of the game.
Yeah.
Great story, Luke Bruce, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
So off the rookie list from the Temora Kangaroos, the son of a gun.
Yeah. I was going to ask, where's he from?
Yeah, so southern New South Wales. His dad, Alan, was a really good goal kicker. Kicked 100 goals in the Farrer League a couple of times. And he played with the Sydney Swans reserves. Wasn't sure whether he'd get his chance. Had a broken leg at his draft year. And he's worked his way up. Didn't debut for a year and a half.
Yeah. You are a serious bookworm, you are.
In those great Hawthorn teams. And found his way in 2011, and he's been a mainstay ever since. Hook and kick back inboard from Warple after the stoppage. I don't have a lot else to do, Jamo. Here's Cameron inside defensive 50 for the Pies.
That was a late call too. Was it Pendlebury got rid of it and Jaff jumped on him and the umpire called it high.
So Pendlebury wheels away. He'll be back here in a fortnight to play Carlton in game number 400. What an occasion that'll be for the champ of Collingwood. Handball forward, taken by Ginnivan. Did he throw that? Umpire said it was okay. Now Jack. Here's Bruce at right half forward. He's got Moore leading into the pocket. Couple of options further afield. Meek's one of them. Warple wants it a bit closer to home. Dylan Moore leads up and marks right on the 50.
It's just covering space. Collingwood.
Having an outstanding year, Dylan Moore. VFL Premiership player with Box Hill a few years ago. 55 metres out, sends it to full forward, meets the target, 3 pies fly against him, and Cameron pulls in the mark at the top of the defensive goal square.
Cameron plays on and then just kicks a tumble punt out of there. 60 metres from goal, straight up the middle to Amon, off to Impey, who gets in on the action. Lovely goal by Jarman Impey. 17-12, 1-14 the Hawks, 8-12, 60 the Pies, 23 played final term. And this is turning into a good percentage booster.
Yeah, tremendous. They would have to be the form side of the competition.
Absolutely.
Right at the moment, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. There's no question about that. I went down to Tassie last week and watched them play, and this is just a follow-up. And I watched Collingwood 2 weeks ago against Essendon, or was it 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, and nothing has changed.
Back end of last year, they showed some glimpses, the Hawks, and it was this game against Collingwood here at the MCG. They beat them by 30-odd points, and you thought, oh, gee, there's a real glimpse of Hawthorn. Start of the year, they went backwards, that 0-5 start, but, gee, they've come along in leaps and bounds since then.
Right there.
Well, I'm lucky enough I get to do it again next week. So they come over to Adelaide and take them on in the late game on Sunday.
It could be an all-out attack kind of contest between the Crows and the Hawks.
Well, that percentage now starting to count, isn't it?
99.3 it's up to for Hawthorn with this result so far. The margin is back to 54 and another chance to go forward. Quaynor intercepting. Some nice aerial work. Wide kick. He's looking for Long. Kicking it off with Scrimshaw. He's got 3 Hawks. There's a nest of them at the top of the goal square. Dylan Moore goes up. Ginnivan stayed down. Offloads to McGuinness. Had it, lost it, dropped it. Back to Ginnivan. Around the body. Got 2. Collingwood say it's touched. Meantime, the Hawks are celebrating. And Guinea's got a couple against his old mob.
There was a hint of a free kick, and then the Hawthorn player, because the whistle was so late, it come from an umpire further up the ground, the play continued and they called advantage. I reckon the Hawthorn player would have stopped immediately. I mean, you've got a free kick 20 metres out. Why would you play on? So that... Yeah, anyway, so...
Jack Ginnivan just cheekily saying good night to the Collingwood supporters as well as he walks back to the goal square. He's
really?
He's still doing it, isn't he?
Having a bit of byplay with the Collingwood supporters up at the City end. 18-12, 120 to 8-12-60. The margin's a game high, 60 points.
It's just given...
all these new signs.
I knew what the signs were in the crowd, though, Mick, once he's...
Yeah, exactly.
The one's coming back the other way. A little clearer.
There it's against Collingwood supporters, and they will not forget. Let me tell you, it'll be, right through his whole career he's going to get it.
In the middle, secondary stoppage. Elliott came bursting through, got a toe on it, up to half forward for the Pies. Newcombe tried to spin out of one tackle, but it was very good. And the free kick going the way of McInnes, or Crisp it is rather, who gets to his feet. So Crisp, 60 from goal. He'll just lay this up to the top of the square. Where are the Flyers? Hill was strong at the front, Moore at the back. No one could take the mark. Now in the scrimmage, Hill, was he caught for holding the ball? No, Pryor. Said the umpire will have a ball up 15 metres out directly in front of Collingwood's goal.
130 possessions more Hawthorn. That gives you a 10-goal group.
Yeah. Domination. Here's Cameron giving it up to Josh Dacos. Kick was smothered and it misses to the near side. 59-point margin. Let's go downstairs to Tim Hodges.
The Hawks out here. If you want to go, keep on going, Joel.
No worries, Hodgie. Here's Lipinski. As the Pies take back possession, Sullivan kicks inside forward 50 and finds Elliott.
You should have handballed it straight back to him, Joel. Get Hodgie to pick it up.
So Elliott's got the kick. Got the schnoz whacked earlier in the game.
They're still going at 72% by disposal, the Hawks.
Yeah. It's cleared up a bit, but through that wet.
A little bit of light drizzle falling. As you say that, Mick, doesn't affect the Jamie Elliott kick. That's a beautiful set shot. So Elliott on the board with a goal. And that margin is reduced to 53 points. Closing in on full time, 18-12, plays 9-13. This time, Hodgie downstairs.
Joel, I just wanted to ask Mick. I saw Jordan De Goey it was a bit of a limp towards the bench. He's put the warm-up top on, so he's done for the night. He spoke about it during the week, the issues he's had with his groins. Is there a moment in clubland where you know that the Pies aren't playing finals the way they're playing right now, that you would be inclined to put your stars who need surgery, get that done early so they're right for day one of the pre-season? Jordan De Goey is the classic example of that. He's played injured and not right all year.
No, I wouldn't do it right now, Tim. It's look, if you were Richmond, North Melbourne, and West Coast, perhaps, but certainly not now. Anything can happen with. You only need a rush of 3 or 4, and I know it's hard to think they will do it, but they could do it.
Watson with the clearance, kicks inside 50. Chest mark was dropped in the end by Bruce. He rifled it in there, Watson, low and hard.
So just going back to Tim. So Tim, no, but if he's injured, he's injured, and you don't play him. But if he's not injured, then he's got to play.
Tossed up, Meek grabs it out of the ruck, just got his hand pass away to Ward. He was mobbed immediately. Umpire said play on. Josh Takos with a hand pass out wide. Watson's there. He goes to ground. And that is contact below the knees. So Sullivan receives the free kick left back pocket for the Pies.
Good free kick. That's the rules.
That's what it's there for.
Yeah, we do not like to see knee injuries.
Elect to go to ground. Another player keeps his feet. And those will be paid every day of the week. Kick. Just a barnstorming tackle from Elliott. Took Warple down with some force. Scrimshaw couldn't lock up Long, who got the kick away to half forward. Impey stood in the road, collected it nicely. Handball across half back to D'Ambrosio. Flares his kick out wide, drops it into the bucket for Dylan Moore. That is a beautiful pass. 55-metre kick on his left boot, where only Moore could access it. He rolls away for the Hawks, kicks inside forward 50. It gets all the way out the back, and Luke Bruce will roll in for goal number 4. 5-4-1 in the career of Luke Bruce, going at better than 68% conversion. He's been a sharpshooter in the brown and gold, and he's showing no real signs of slowing down. 19-12, 126 to 9-13-67. The margin is back to 59 points. Half an hour gone in this final term.
Yeah, that little bit of spurt early on in the last quarter by Collingwood, where and the Cray has thrown players all over the shop, where they just attacked the football, played on. That sort of lasted 7 or 8 minutes, and it's probably unsustainable. They needed to be within 4 or 5 to make any impact. It didn't happen, and Hawthorn met head to head with it and scored 1 or 2 against it. So all of a sudden, it just dampened that sort of play.
From the middle, soccer towards the wing, and Nash with a clean pick-up off to Jaff. By hand to Ward, bought himself a little bit of time with a nice little dummy as well around Pendlebury. Hand pass out wide to Warple. Warple spots McGuinness, and he is at right half forward. 55 from goal. Got a couple in the goal square who are waving their arms. One of them's Newcomb. Can he get up high? He does! Great highlight for the little man, and he'll line up from the top of the square.
Just cannot do a whole lot wrong at the moment, the Hawks. They've already kicked 7 in this quarter. They have been consistent throughout the day. 3 in the first, 4 in the second, 5 in the third. And to finish off in this manner, it's been a very impressive day.
Yeah, you're right.
Sam Mitchell loved it on the bench too. They're all having a good chuckle. In comes Newcomb. He'll kick from 15 out. Slide angle to the right. What an afternoon it has been for these Hawks. They are going places. 32 played final term. The Hawks kicked their 20th goal in the wet. 20-12, 132 to Collingwood, 9-13-67.
It's a good point, Maisie. You know, like the fact that it's also wet, 20 goals against this opposition as well, which we know that normally they are renowned for one, a very good defensive team, but an extremely good attacking team, and maybe not playing their best footy, but not to this margin, not 10 goals.
13 goals since half-time to Collingwood's 8. So the Pies have kicked goals, but they've been matched.
Although, if you don't barrack for them, it's probably a pretty good day anyway, isn't it?
Kate from Canungra in Queensland's got in early on the text line. We're a happy team at Hawthorn.
Well and truly.
It'll be belting out around the MCG.
Jeff Kennett wearing his yellow pants.
I'd say so. Why not one more for the road as Amon launches them forward again, the Hawks. A bouncing ball sits in front of McGuinness, who busts his way through and can't quite finish. Clatters it off the inside of the left-hand goalpost. 66 points is a new game-high lead for the Hawks. 2013, 133 to 9-13, 67. It is their highest scoring quarter of the season now at 9 goals 4.
From the kick in, Ward into Sebs. He's taken in a tackle, spilled free at the last moment. The umpire had already called for the ball up.
8 goals 4, I should say, Maisie.
I can't help it. Every time I see 32, I think of, is it Colin Robinson? Left foot, right footer.
Yeah.
Incredibly talented, skillful.
Lipinski soccers this away from the stoppage, up beyond the wing, but it's all Hawks again. Weddle couldn't pick the ball up that time, but he had support. Impey there. He retreats by hand to Scrimshaw. He'll have a 100th game to remember this afternoon. He goes defensively and finds Jaff. He's 20 metres out from his defensive goal line. Jaff back to the milestone man in Scrimshaw. So Scrimshaw left back pocket, right in front of the Hawthorn stronghold here at the MCG. He is soaking it in. Long kick towards the wing. Quainer was up high, got through his hands over the back. There's a free kick and it's been paid for Quainer. Siren goes and the Hawks do a demolition job in the wet. Watch out for them this season.
Happy team at Hawthorn, we're the mighty fighting Hawks. We love our club and we play to win, riding the bumps with a grin at Hawthorn. Come what may, you'll find us striving. Teamwork is the thing that talks. One for all and all for one, the way we play at Hawthorn. We are the mighty fighting Hawks.
Hawthorn 2013, 133 to Collingwood 9-13, 67 for our South Australian audience. You're off to Port Adelaide and Richmond at the Adelaide Oval. Farewell. For everyone else, the goal kickers, and there were plenty, especially if you're a Hawks fan. 4 to McDonald and Bruce, 3 to Watson, 2 to Chol, Ginnivan, D'Ambrosio, and 1 each to Warple, Impey and Newcomb. For the Pies, 2 to Hill and Sidebottom, 1 each to McStay, Dacos, Elliott, Dicko and McInnes.
We're a happy team at Hawthorn. We're the mighty fighting Hawks. We love our club and we play to win, riding the bumps with a grin at Hawthorn. Come what may, you'll find us striving. Teamwork is the thing that talks. One for all and all for one, it's the way we play at Hawthorn. We are the mighty fighting Hawks.
We've only kicked a bigger score once under Sam Mitchell. It is Craig McRae's biggest defeat as Collingwood coach. 66 points at the hands of Hawthorn. 20 goals 13, 133 to 9-13, 67. They started hot, they never looked back. It was a mature and assured performance from this young team on the rise, and who knows what's around the corner for these Hawks. Whether it involves a September campaign this year or not, you know they will be there at some point in the not too distant future.
They're 1 win off second.
Yep, it's incredible. And you look at, so they've got that percentage up to almost 100, so they're almost back at level pegging in terms of the ladder now, Hawthorn as well. So Port Adelaide, who play tonight, also on 40 points, 103.4%. Melbourne also on 40 points, 105.5%. The Bulldogs are a game back, 114.9%, so their percentage is very handy. And you look at Collingwood now, so 36 points, 8 wins, 2 draws, and a percentage of 98.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a worry for the Pies, and with a very tough run home as well. We're with you for about another 9 minutes. We'll try and sneak some reaction if we can. If not, you might hear that down the line later on in the next game for broadcast, which is Geelong and the Western Bulldogs. But our experts and their thoughts on this one, Rod Jamieson and Mick Malthouse.
Super impressive, I have to say, Mick. That really was. And I certainly came here hoping for a good game based on how Hawthorn were playing and their form coming into this and what was riding on it for Collingwood. And I guess every time you come up against Collingwood, you know you're up for a big game. But that was probably the least or the most disappointing I've seen that performance from a Collingwood side for quite some time, and you touched on it, their biggest loss under Craig McRae, but so much to glow about in the way that the Hawks used the football, won the football, their structure and setup, their ability to bring their teammates in, their defence was incredibly strong in the dry weather and the wet weather, the way they held the footy, carried the footy, and how clean they were, and in the end still at 72% for the end of the game, and the options, 9 goal scorers, and hadn't seen a lot of Connor McDonald and Nick Watson I'd sort of seen a little bit about, and Luke Bruce still standing up, and Marby Old-Child 2-goal-3, so it was a super impressive effort all round.
Yeah. Did you do the game over in Adelaide when they played?
No, against Port Adelaide?
I'm pretty sure I did that. No, the Collingwood Hawthorn game at
Adelaide Oval.
Gather round.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Yeah, I did that game, and Collingwood at the end were a bit lucky. Yep. There was 3 or 4 shots on goal by Hawthorn, and just couldn't do the job. What's happened since then? This is not an out for Collingwood, but they have had a fair run of bad injuries, and I know that most clubs have. Players seem to have lost. Then they say about hunger. There's that edge gone from Collingwood. There's no question the edge is gone. They when they're good, they're very, very good. When they're not, we're seeing this sort of stuff, and they haven't been smashed by big scores like this. But I think the myth of we'll keep coming back is just scared a few sides. I said about Essendon a couple of weeks ago. Essendon were 5 or 6 or 7 up or something, scraped over the line. I reckon they feared what was going to happen instead of looking at the game, and the growth for Essendon was to be able to overcome that. The growth for Hawthorn is a contrast to Essendon is that, and I know Collingwood was starting a long way back at three-quarter time, but when they did come at them, Hawthorn stood their ground. Yeah. They're a very there's a lot of mixture about them. They're very physical. Their structures at the middle are very offensive, not overly defensive, because Collingwood started to score pretty rapidly from stoppages. But because they're so aggressive and they're so big, they generally carry that ball forward. There's no lightweights of putting their head over it and sort of taking their eyes off the thing. They just bore in. I know this seems very strange, but they are a very complete side outside of, as you spoke about it, up to half-time. They couldn't take a mark inside their front 50, but they kicked 7 goals, 8 up until that time, from a lot of good structured stuff without marking the football. Are they one key back short? Possibly. But then again, if you run through nearly every club, there's something missing from a... If they can make the 8 in this form and stay in form, if they can make the 8, they've taken a great step today. I don't think it's fatal for Collingwood, mind you. They've certainly got they're certainly laying down in the hospital, in the ICU.
Richmond, Carlton, Sydney, Brisbane, and Melbourne to come.
Well, you'd say that probably Richmond, the way Richmond's form is, but outside of that, it's going to be a massive job to. If you have a look in front of them, it's okay to look at what they've got, but Melbourne play the Dogs tonight. Is that fair? No, Melbourne play Geelong. Sorry, Melbourne play Fremantle tonight. So you've got one of those is going to win and one's going to lose. Same with Geelong and the Dogs. So whilst those teams are playing each other, Collingwood don't lose massively. They lose a bit, but they don't lose massively. It's when these top sides in front of them are going to start playing the bottom sides, then it's starting to count.
Yeah. I think I like the balance of the Hawks as well. Like, they've got some bulls that can win a seriously hard footy, and they've got some genuine speed across all 3 lines too. And then there's the height and the explosiveness, and then the talent in which they've been able to score. And I touched on the left footers too. They've got like a half a dozen left footers in there as well. So, and I thought Meek was pretty sound today. Like, albeit he gave away a number of frees, but right across the board, I actually like what I saw.
Yeah, he's had a strong back end of the year. About to head into the rooms for the Hawthorn song. We'll get the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year off the back of that. We've got about 3 minutes left on air before we send you to Geelong and Western Bulldogs in another of those finals-shaping games as Jack Scrimshaw leads the Hawks off the ground and down into the tunnel. Just repeating that final score. 20 goals, 13-133 to Collingwood, 9-13-67. Earlier today, the Saints by 72 over the Eagles. The Giants by 39 over the Suns. Tonight, Port Adelaide and Richmond. You can get a call of that on the ABC Listen app. And for all of you who are still with us, you're headed to Geelong and the Western Bulldogs down at Cardinia Park after Hawthorn's 66-point win over the Pies here at a very wet and a very wintry MCG. James Sicily is leading the Hawks into the rooms. That's where we find Tim Hodges. Hodgie.
The Raw tells a story here. This feels like this is more than 4 points today for these Hawks. The rooms are packed. A very happy bunch. We'll bring you Luke Bruce. I'm not sure if we'll get it in this window, but maybe later on. But for the 10th time this year, the Hawks get to sing the song. The belief continues to grow. Goodness knows what this team is capable of. Jack Ginnivan will be the last, and Sam Mitchell joins them, and here's the song. I'll send it back to you to clear the votes, and we probably won't get Luke Bruce in this window, but what a happy bunch they are down at Hawthorn.
Absolutely, Hodgie. Only a minute left on air, so the votes, but yeah, they are very happy indeed. Jamo, a 3-2-1.
Yes, struggled to fit any Collingwood in today, so I'm going to go Dylan Moore. He had a pretty good game too, with the amount of football he had and contested. And James Sicily, 2 votes with his role in defence, finished up with 30 disposals, 77% efficiency right across the board, and was very attacking. But you know what? Jack, I'm going to give Jack 3 votes for his day-to-day. He was outstanding in that first half, 21, and then had another 10, kicked 2 goals, outstanding.
Career best in terms of disposals, 2 goals to go with it, a very, very handy effort. Thanks to Hodgie, thanks to Jules McKenzie pushing the buttons here. Good to see you, Mick. Very good to see you, Jamo.
Pleasure, and thank you.
Here at the MCG. Good to see you, Maisie. We'll hear a lot more from you in the next couple of weeks here on ABC Sport. If you're still with us, you're headed off to Geelong and the Western Bulldogs tonight. Another final shaping game down the road at Cardinia Park. The Cats and the Dogs here at the MCG. Big win to the Hawks. They're certainly going places, Hawthorn.